Sky Sports 1 live.
No more evolution at Highbury. There's a new stadium in the offing. Arsene Wenger has finally put pen to paper. It's the French Revolution, Part 2.
Clinical, absolutely clinical. Robert Perez! How impressive is that?
So he's signed at last. We'll be hearing from Arsene Wenger in the first hour of the programme today. Also, John Gregory on why he wants more. Doug Ellis will be with us in the studio to tell us almost certainly, I would have thought, why he can't have more. And also, before we kick off at 4 o'clock, we'll have details of the third round draw of the FA Cup. Alan Smith is with us. So too is London's top manager, Alan Kirbishley of Charlton Athletic, who have been here and won, who went to Chelsea midweek and won, and who beat Tottenham yesterday by 3 goals to 1. What is it with you and London clubs at the minute then?
Well, I've heard a few, especially Arsene here, who's disappointing how many local derbies there are, but, you know, when you're a club like Charlton, we love them because that's what our fans, you know, we got into the Premiership and that's what they're looking forward to, and the atmospheres at the games are second to none, and we've been responding to it, but I know I'm sure Alan will say we was a little bit lucky here, but we wasn't lucky yesterday and we wasn't lucky on Wednesday.
Did you see the game here before too?
I've only seen it on the box. I mean, from what I heard, it could have been 10, couldn't it, first 20 minutes or
For
so.
who?
For Arsenal. For Arsenal. They passed up the chances.
I don't know about 10, but it could have been 3 or 4, and there probably would have been no coming back, but you know, he didn't score them and we did.
What about yesterday? The perfect start, I suppose. One up in, what, 3-4 minutes?
It was a local derby yesterday, the atmosphere, and you know, we've got the roof on this new stand and it's making a big difference for us, but Dean Richards should have dealt with that before, and Graham hasn't scored for some time, and we're giving him a bit of stick about it. I think he went out to 18-1 yesterday.
Don't you just love that, though, when defenders are trying to shepherd a ball out like that and get caught?
I think it's great credit to Jason Newell to carry on, and then Kevin needed that. You know, he does everything in a game for us, but he's not been getting the goals, and you know, don't care how they go in, through the keeper's legs, whatever. But this was a good goal. We was waiting for the chance to break. Scotty eventually gets it through, and these are not that easy, how are they? And you know,
especially in somebody else's boots.
Well, I've heard every excuse from Kevin Lisby, why he's late for training and why he's this and why he's that. And the latest one this week, he had his car stolen with everything in it. And that's why he was late for training. And they got themselves back in the last couple of minutes. And to be fair, and Glenn has said it, I think if they'd have got themselves back in it earlier than that, it'd have been a bit more difficult for us. But
the boots went missing in the car, did they?
The boots, the club suit, that's why he didn't have that on Wednesday at Chelsea, and everything else went missing. But, he's got his goal scoring back, that didn't go.
Is that the only thing that's been missing in his game? Is that why we haven't seen more of him?
He's been around the first team for 3 or 4 seasons, and last year he started the first 6 or 7 games, done everything but score, and you know, and then came out. I think he then came back in for the cup games in Dagenham and Redbridge, done everything but score. He's needed to score, and you know, all forwards need that. No matter the rest of their game may be spot on, but every forward needs to score. And he opened his account this year at Ipswich, which has probably got to be a contender for goal of the season.
Absolutely. By the way, it's Blackpool at home for you in the third round of the FA Cup.
Oh, is that right?
Take that, won't you?
Yeah, we'll take that.
And it's Watford for the Gunners.
Where?
At Watford. It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where's Coventry?
So. Yeah, definitely.
We don't know yet.
Oh, right.
Old Trafford, probably. Out in the third round. Nothing new in that. The Barclaycard Premiership. Let's have a look. One or two changes to make you aware of. Our various active services have changed us from today. Interactive coverage of today's match, plus the sports quiz and our fantasy football competition can all be found via Sky Sports Extra. That's channel 404. Press the red button and access the full menu. Stay with us on Sky Sports 1 for the football form guide and Sky Play. Press the red button and you can go interactive there. It's all available from 3:30. It's Arsenal today against Aston Villa, and Claire Tomlinson has the details of the teams.
Well, Richard, Dennis Bergkamp's bit of magic against Juventus on Tuesday, enough to earn him a recall to the starting lineup today for Arsenal. Injuries, though, a big problem for John Gregory. Mark Delaney, the latest, he joined Schmeichel, Kashlour, Hadji and Alpay on the sidelines, but Paul Merson skippers the side against his former club. 21-year-old Stuart Taylor plays his 6th successive game in the Arsenal goal as David Seaman and Richard Wright continue to struggle with injuries, and Matthew Upson plays his 3rd consecutive game. Patrick Vieira skippers the side in the continued absence of Tony Adams. Freddie Ljungberg scored 2 against Juventus in that Champions League game. Thierry Henry scored the winner against Villa here last season. He's the Premiership's top scorer so far, 13 in his 13 games. Sylvain Wiltord returns after injury to a place on the bench. Peter Enkelman, who made his senior Villa debut against Arsenal in 1999, continues to deputise for Peter Schmeichel. Alan Wright and George Boateng have been ever present in the league for Villa. Gareth Barry makes just his 2nd Premiership appearance of the season. Lee Hendry was sent off for 2 bookable offences in the defeat here last season. Dion Dublin up front with the former Highbury hero Merson. Dublin scored Villa's goal in Wednesday's 1-1 draw at West Ham. Juan Pablo Angel again making do with a place on the bench. Those are the teams, Richard. Back to you.
And just in case anybody else is vaguely interested, Coventry have got Spurs at home, Cardiff against Leeds United, and Aston Villa have pulled Manchester United at home. Ooh, ouch. What about Arsenal fans right now? Are you buzzing like everybody else about Highbury?
It's exciting times, isn't it, with Arsenal's contract signing, the stadium plans being approved hopefully on Monday, and the team just playing superbly well. And I think now, trying to achieve some consistency, they are doing that by consistency of selection. I mean, one change today from Tuesday night, but the back four almost picks itself again, and it's been a while since we could have said that. Midfield likewise.
But it's a back four without Keown.
It is. I don't think Martin will be all that happy about that now he's fit. But you can't take it away from Sol Campbell and Matthew Upson. They're beginning to establish a partnership there, which is working well. And I mean, Matthew really could have been on his way a couple of months ago, but he's stuck in there, and injuries have come up, and he's stepped in and fulfilling his potential.
It's a Super Sunday at Highbury, and it is exactly that today. Very It's more like boxing. But for how much longer? Well, plans go before Islington Borough Council for the new stadium tomorrow. We'll have a report on that very shortly. We'll hear from Arsene Wenger. The Villa chairman, Doug Ellis, has joined. Our rotation policy means we've removed Alan Kirbishley for 5 minutes. We've replaced him with Doug Ellis. Alan Smith is still with us. Before we speak to Doug, let's hear from his manager, John Gregory. Nearly 4 years in charge of Villa Park now. They've been top, of course, Aston Villa, under his stewardship. They were top for nearly half a season a couple of years back. But he knows there's more to do.
I've never delivered any silverware to the club. Although we've won matches, we've never actually won anything to show for it. And although our positions and so on in the league have been fairly acceptable, we still haven't made that indentation in the top 3. We haven't qualified for the Champions League, which is everybody's holy grail really at the moment, is to qualify for that Champions League. That's where That's where the money really is, and I haven't done that here. But I felt this season was the greatest opportunity that I've had so far. And when we sat top of the Premiership, I fully expected us to go out and buy 2 new players, but we didn't, and that, to me, was a day that I will never forget. I was told that there is no more money to spend, so I was disappointed in many respects that we didn't go out and speculate really, and really try and add to the squad to make everybody aware that not only have we gone top of the Premiership, but we seriously all want to make sure that we stay top of the Premiership. So I was devastated really that we didn't go out and improve the squad. I think to be taken seriously, in a way you have to show people that you're serious in the transfer market, that you're prepared maybe to take a gamble, to try and, I mean, the old saying of speculating to accumulating is very evident with Leeds at the moment, and Liverpool have done the same. Liverpool have amassed a massive squad, so they've sort of, in a way, they've showed their hand very early on that they've got serious ambitions of wanting to win the title, and I think in that respect Villa have never really been taken that seriously.
You seem very down.
I am a bit, yeah, I'm a bit down, but come kick-off time, I'll have a smile on my face, be nice and bright, make sure I am with the boys. But it's been a hard couple of weeks. As I said, I still found it very difficult to get over the opportunity that we've missed, that we passed up really, and I'll certainly be bright and lively though come kick-off time.
Well, watching that, the Villa chairman Doug Ellis offering the case against, I would imagine. Alan Smith is still with us. So what are your ambitions for Aston Villa?
Our ambitions are exactly the same as they always have been. One thing I must make it quite clear, there's no way in which you, gentlemen of the press, will drive a wedge through John Gregory and I. We get on very well. He's a good coach, but he perhaps is a little bit economic with the truth, in as much as that what he forgets, I don't say he forgets it purposely, but during the summer we bought 4 new players. In total it amounted to just over £80 million from the time that John joined us, and admittedly we sold some players to the just over 50 million, for example. But during the summer, after buying these 4 players, and 2 of them were frees, but really there's nothing free in life, they weren't really free, but nevertheless they did cost quite a lot of money. And John said to me at the time, I think we now have a very good squad, I'm confident we're going to win something this year, Chairman. Now subsequent, and I said at the time, well now, of course, don't expect to buy any more, unless of course you sell some, because the wage bill is very high, and he understood that and he accepted that. But subsequently he was desperate to buy a boy called Balapan, Bosko Balapan from Croatia, and I went out there with him and we bought him. We paid £6 million for him. The boy isn't even on the bench today, and hasn't been. He's in the stand, and that doesn't mean to say he's a bad player. I think he's a good player, but it's because we have a very good squad. We have 21 squad in a total of 45 professional players.
Let me just say something to you. First of all, it was certainly and would not be our intention to drive a wedge between yourself and your manager. You're a friend of ours, and we invited you today to give your side of the story, because you in particular have been getting some stick once again from Aston Villa fans. Now that's your manager, who we've interviewed independently, as you know, saying we missed a big opportunity. We were top and should have speculated. Had we done so, perhaps we could have suggested our intent was to do better this season than perhaps we might. I'm not getting the money from the chairman that I should have, and that was certainly an allegation that was being bandied about Villa Park last week, wasn't it? How do you feel, bearing in mind what you've told us, how do you feel when you get so much stick from Villa fans?
Well, as I said, I hate washing dirty linen in public. Normally, I do not wish to discuss the business of Aston Villa through the medium of the press. But nevertheless, I have to defend myself and my colleagues on the board on the question of John saying that he wanted another 2 players. But I defend him. All managers want 2 more players. I've had 11 managers in my time at 33 years, and they always want 2 more players. But there comes a time when you say, now if we take that player, there's no more to come. And if he accepts it, that's it. Are
you going to sell Angel, as the press have reported today, in order to finance more purchases?
I know nothing about that. I'm quite sure that we're not going to sell Angel. He's a good player, but the manager makes the decision to buy and sell players. I just find the money.
But there is no more money unless he sells.
At the present moment, I've told him quite clearly, and I can tell you and all your listeners, or should I say your viewers today, that we have made it very clear from way back, months, is it? A few months ago, the end of the summer, I think, when we said, John, that's it now, we'll buy this player. He's had a very good record, and he is still a very good player, the boy Balapan, but he's not even on the bench, or even, I think he's in the stand today. And sometimes I look at the bench and what's in the stand, and 15 to 20 million pounds worth of players are there. So we have a very strong squad. And I'm quite sure, you take what we've done this season, we beat Liverpool 3-1 there. We made a draw with Manchester United at home. The 93rd minute they scored. Again last Wednesday we played West Ham. The 92nd minute they scored to make a draw. We haven't got a bad side.
Last thing Andy Gray said when he left was, hey, remind him the game lasts more than 90 minutes on occasions.
Exactly. Oh yes, of course it does.
Should Aston Villa be up there, pitching in with the Leeds Uniteds and the Liverpool? Well, why aren't they then?
Now that's something the manager makes the decision on who he picks and how he plays. That's his decision. He's a very good coach, as I've said from the beginning, and I'm not going to get involved with why. All I know is there is £80 million worth of players that we've purchased during his stewardship with us, and admittedly we've sold 50 million. There is a 28, 29 million differential. So
we worked it out to 20, but you're obviously close to the facts. However, but that's not a huge amount of money, is it?
These are facts, but no, it isn't the end, because you've got to consider the increase in wages, and I can assure you that Aston Villa will continue to run as a club for many more years to come, long after I've turned my toes up, as long as
Would you rather finish 5th and just outside those Champions League places with a balance sheet you can manage, or is there a temptation to say to John, OK, listen, I know how we started the season out. I said there's no more. But I tell you what I'm going to do. You're right. We're going to speculate to accumulate. There. Go and add what you think can take us 3rd and 2nd. Maybe 1st.
With great respect, you know, Richard, you are a professional. You're talking like a man from the terraces. It's very easy to say that with great respect. All I'm saying is that there is a very, very good squad at Aston Villa which could take us, in my humble opinion, to a position in the Champions League next year, and John did not disagree with that when we took those 4 players in the summer.
So what happens if that doesn't happen?
Well, at the present moment there are players on the bench today, for example, that he has the opportunity to put in. It's his choice. I'm not going to tell him to put them in.
Have you said it's Champions League or bust?
No, I haven't said that, no, but I believe, and he believed, that we had a squad at the time. We talk about a 21 squad of the 45 players. There's a lot of players at Villa Park, as there is at most clubs, but all managers, they always want 2 more players.
You're a man from the terraces as well,
of course,
just like the rest of us, because we're all football fans. Yeah. But how can you put up with that aggravation week in, week out from the terraces? Because you're public enemy #1 about Villa Park, aren't you?
Well, if I am, that's surprising if you read the letters that come in and say take no notice and run the club as profitably, or whatever else it is they say in those letters. Believe me, it's not so in writing. But nevertheless, it isn't. In answer to your question, no one likes to have a crowd shouting Ellis out, if that's what you're talking about, of course. I've had it before when we were in the 3rd division. Do remember, in those 33 years, we've had a couple of years in the 3rd division, a couple of years in the 2nd division, the rest in the 1st and in the Premier League. So I'm not saying that I'm not broad-shouldered. I am broad-shouldered. I don't like it, but nevertheless, it isn't a case of just willy-nilly spending money that you haven't got, which other clubs are doing. I'm not going to name them, but you probably know.
You mean Leeds?
I have not said it. I've not said it. I won't say Coventry City either. I'll just say that look at poor old Nottingham Forest. They won the European Cup twice. Look at them now, I feel so sorry for them.
There's a few Villa fans here today. I haven't seen this. I don't know what they're saying about you outside, but we have had a reporter amongst them.
Why didn't you tell me that before?
This is the verdict.
I think we need to spend, because at the moment we're sort of just pushing towards European places, but I feel that with Leeds and Liverpool playing so well at the moment, I don't see how we can maintain anything other than just fake ambitions unless we spend money, to be honest with you.
We've had a good start, but we've been there all before. A few seasons ago we did well, top of the league till Christmas and threw it away. Again, Mr. Ellis, lack of cash for the manager.
I think they've had a very good start to the season, and I think they should be pushing for a European place, but obviously with the amount of cash John's got to spend, I think we're struggling a lot.
The league position seems to be okay, but I think just Doug Ellis needs to spend a bit more money to strengthen the squad. It just ain't going right at the moment.
So how do you get that message across to those boys that it's not happening?
I can simply say this: cash does not guarantee you success. buying players does not guarantee you success. I can name a number of clubs, and it's not my job to name other clubs, who have got very expensive players sitting on the bench or in the stand as well as us. But nevertheless, it's a matter of orchestration by the coach, by the chief coach, who is the manager of Aston Villa, and that's John. Good friend of mine. As I repeat, you're not very, I won't say you personally, but
thank you.
The media will not drive a wedge between my manager and I. I'll just come out and give you the facts. I've given you the facts, and it's a fact that, in fact, we have a very good squad, and hopefully we'll beat Arsenal today.
What do you wish your legacy to be when you leave Aston Villa?
Well, that's a new one. I like to think that the club will continue for many more years to come. There are 140 years, is it now? 1874, not quite, but even so, it's a long, long time since it was formed, and as such, they will continue to be in the Premier League. They'll be always chasing honours, where no one's less ambitious than me. None of those supporters outside are less ambitious than me, but I have the responsibility of running the club properly, and that I will continue to do. And if it requires more money, then in fact, at the present moment, John has the opportunity to sell 1 or 2 players, if he wishes. It's his choice.
Then he will have the money.
Of course.
It's Manchester United home in the FA Cup.
That's
for Aston
right.
Villa. You happy
Delighted,
with that?
delighted. We played Manchester United earlier on in the season, and the result was 1-1. And it was the 93rd minute, a corner. I'm not sure whether it was from Giggs or who, but whoever it was, it hit Alpe on the chest, and it went in. He was trying to chest it down, it went in the corner. Unfortunately, it was 1 each. But I repeat that we have made a draw with Leeds. We have made, we won 3-1 against Liverpool at Anfield. We're not a bad side. All I'll ask our supporters to do that are looking in is come and keep supporting us and keep your chins up. We'll be there and thereabouts, and hopefully in the Champions League at the end of this season.
Doug, thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate it. It's a Super Sunday from Sky Sports. We are at Highbury. It's Arsenal against Aston Villa. When we come back, we're turning our attention to plans for Arsenal's brand new stadium. It's Bar. But why now, after all the debate?
I have a deep feeling that this club can achieve remarkable things, and that the players have the ability to do it, and the potential and the ambition. And once you truly believe that, of course, and if you want to win, you do it.
You're an analytical person. Was any part of the decision emotional?
Yes.
Which part?
The biggest part. The biggest part. Because I'm maybe analytical because when I speak about the game, but when I speak about my contracts, it's much more emotional, because you have to ask yourself, how much do I like it, how much do I want it, and that's, therefore you cannot put the pluses and the minuses on one side and on the other side. It's more about how much do we love it, how much do we want it, how much do you know it will be a tough time. We know it's not. We are not in a period when you finish second, people are happy. They are disappointed.
But there's no question that you could have earned far more money elsewhere.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you get up in the morning and you want to go to your job and you're happy to do it, and you believe you can win it.
If they don't get planning permission for the new stadium, how big a setback is that?
It will be a big would be a big setback.
And based on what you've said, have you not taken a risk in signing this contract before
receiving
planning?
What's always I say as well to the players, we want to achieve that, but you cannot be half in and half out. You're in or you're out. I want to achieve that for the club, to be the best. And the first example I can show is to commit myself first, to give a message out that we want to be the best and that we want stability inside the club, and not I do it only if. That's, I think, if everybody does that, you cannot win. I believe as well that the top club first is stable at the top level. And I could achieve that for the last 4 years, and I want now to go a step further. If I cannot do that in the next 4 years, I will go. I could say that if we do not win the championship again or the European Cup, of course, it will be time for somebody else to do it.
So given what you have, you think you can win either the European Cup or the Championship within the next 4 years?
We can do it this year. Why wait for so long? I believe that's down to us, down to our belief, down to our ambition, and down to how much we want it. And I can tell you something, the team wants it. And I believe they have the potential to do it.
And that is a statement of intent. Jeff Shreves asking the questions. Incidentally, on behalf of Doug Ellis, when he said nobody has less ambition than he has, he meant more, and he wished us to correct that, so we have done. And thank you for joining us, Doug. Alan Smith is still here. Alan Kirbishley has rejoined us. How much and how important was it to Arsenal to get his name on the contract in order to progress the plans they have now?
Hugely important. I think that, I mean, the way it dragged on for months and months, it was a destabilising factor really, and Arsenal's reasons for that I don't know, but I think there is a side of it. It was time to coincide with this meeting on Monday, but now they can look ahead. I mean, it's interesting what he says about if we don't win things, I will go, because now for the first time I think you can say this is Arsenal's team. You know, he won the double back in '97, fantastic signings, Vieira, Overmars, Petit, but it was the old back four. Now this is his back four, it's his midfield and attack. It's his team, and this is the team that he'll want to win things, because he has spent a lot of money and he needs to deliver now.
But he wants to, Alan, and it's unusual, is it not, to hear a manager say quite positively in that fashion, why not this year? Why not the Championship this year? And why not the European Cup this year?
Well, I think, you know, I've seen Arsenal, I come over here regularly, you know, this is one of my closest grounds, and I think it's their own fault why they ain't top of the league at the moment. Because I've seen games and they've been the best side by far and not took the points, and they've let, I know we was talking to Doug about last-minute goals, but they've let last-minute goals in at Spurs, last-minute goals there, I think, against Blackburn.
Well, I think they've led in so many games, it's actually ended up costing them 13 points.
They've missed a penalty at Sunderland when they was on top of the game, you know, and, you know, to make it 2-1. So, you know, this year, I think they've got one thing right, that their away form is a lot better than last year. They haven't quite got it right when they was exceptional here, but they're good enough. And I think if they get their result today, they're good enough to go to the top of the league, and everyone will have to catch them.
The teams you played in, Alan, the Championship sides that George Graham had here, the foundation of success was that back four, wasn't it? Is this side more expansive, and can they win the title playing in the manner that they do?
Well, the manner that they have in the last couple of weeks, certainly. You can never do it without a decent back four. I don't think you can doubt that, and a steady goalkeeper, which is something that's been a problem for them. But, I mean, in terms of going forward, they totally overshadow anything we had under George. But having said that, we scored a lot of goals, very rarely conceded many. But they're getting to that point now, I think. They're just getting that little bit of solidity there and stability at the back with the likes of Sol Campbell and Matthew Upson. Something for him to build on. But, you know, you look at the players going forward, and Alan was saying the pace in the side, you know, through Pires, Ljungberg, Henry, so many quick players. They can score goals for fun, as long as they can learn to close that back door.
Arsenal believe they're on the brink of a really exciting new era. There's a new stadium in the offing as well. Jeff Shreves has more.
Arsenal have been playing their football at Highbury since 1913. But in just over 24 hours from now, this famous club will find out whether they have permission to move home. The Gunners want to relocate here, to Ashburton Grove. At present, it's a waste disposal unit, less than a mile from Highbury. But in its place will be a magnificent state-of-the-art 60,000 all-seater stadium, which will lie at the heart of a massive redevelopment scheme, which will also see Arsenal build over 2,000 new homes. But there's one thing that the manager insists they must take with them.
Most important is to keep the Highbury spirit. That means short distance between the first support and the players, deep, good contact between the fans and the team, to have a huge support, and as well to keep the aspects that made Highbury be Highbury. and that everybody feels. When I invite my friends from abroad, they come in there, they say always, there's something special in there, there's a soul in the stadium, and we must recreate that. And as well, keep what is much more different in the new stadiums, in the big stadiums, the quality of the pitch, because that's where the game starts.
It's nearly 4 years since Arsenal won a trophy, and the board feel they simply have to move if there's to be any more silverware.
It is absolutely vital. The entire future of the club depends on moving to a new stadium. We cannot afford to stay here at Highbury and compete with the world's best.
How much is the stadium going to cost, and where will the money come from?
It will cost just under 300 million. Approximately half of that will come from our own funds, and the rest will be through bank loans. There's been some opposition from local residents. It's actually not been too great. We've had a few objectors within the Ashburton Grove area, people who've not wanted to leave their offices, leave their buildings, which is understandable. But by and large, we're well on the way to relocating most of the businesses. We've already done quite a few relocations, and others we're deeply in discussions with.
It's such a massive step, this. Are you more nervous about the result tomorrow night than the 3 points against Villa this afternoon?
Well, we'll start off with the 3 points today and then worry about tomorrow.
What's plan B if you don't get planning permission?
There is no plan B. We're focused on a win, but just in case, we'll obviously have to leave the borough, because it'll be Islington saying no to us, and we'll just have to go and look somewhere else.
And it shouldn't be forgotten, they were once, of course, Woolwich Arsenal, which places them squarely in your manor, or would, but you couldn't put up with that, could you?
No.
They're now
too close to
Arsenal
us.
of Islington Borough.
Yeah.
What's that move like? I mean, you've done it. You masterminded the return to the Valley. What's that move like between stadiums? And yours obviously was more fraught than theirs might be.
Ours was to Selhurst Park originally, and you know, the time in terms of travel was, I think, 40 minutes to an hour, but our fans wouldn't go. You know, I don't know if it was too much to do with Crystal Palace, but they just didn't want to do it. They wanted to stay at the Valley. We went to Upton Park, which cut the time down considerably, and they didn't go there either. We come back to the Valley, and obviously they've supported us, and the fans are back there now. So I don't know. I think that it's imperative they get their new stadium. I can't see how they can think about competing, although they are at the moment on terms of their performances on the pitch. But you know, talking about competing in England in the Premiership with the top sides, that's hard enough. But they've also got to compete in Europe, and the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, and these sort of teams, they've got no worries about their stadiums. They get the crowds, and you know, Arsenal, you know, they need 60,000.
As someone who's done his bit here, as Alan was just suggesting, fans are habitual, aren't they? They like what they know. Those that support Derby County did not want to leave the baseball ground. Are you an advocate for the move, or would you rather see them stay here and do something, whatever it might be?
No, I mean, I think it's impossible. They've looked into that, and they have to move. But I mean, the encouraging thing is it's just down the road. It's still Islington. It's still Highbury. Retains its identity, and that is their only site now. I mean, Mr. Fisman's saying there is no plan B. They've put all the time and effort into it. Big PR offensive. They're just praying that it can be passed. I mean, you know, the fans, this is something special here at Highbury with the stands and what have you. It is one of the great old grounds, but to compete in the future, they do have to move, and the fans will accept that.
Let's talk about the game today. Thierry Henry. Is anybody in better form than Thierry Henry at the minute? Alan, 13 in 13 games this season?
No. Oh, sorry, was that you?
No, it's you, because you're the centre forward.
I think we should... no, you take it, but I think we should try and be more specific on the Allens. You can be Smudger from now on.
OK.
Curbs.
Nobody is in better form. I mean, it's curious, really, because Thierry Henry is not your conventional central striker. He does things that normal centre forwards will not do. I mean, you look at Ruud van Nistelrooy, and he is your archetypal striker, and he's been brought up that way. But Thierry plays off the cuff. He drifts out wide. His link-up play isn't brilliant, but his finishing is fantastic. His speed up.
Just think what he'd be like if he was a good player.
Well, he is a good player. Don't worry about that. He's one of those. Sometimes it's difficult to get a partnership with, but I think if you can just give him the ball and let him do the rest, because he's just fine. He's just on fire.
What do you do to stop him?
Well, we found it very difficult. I think most people do, and as Alan was saying, he doesn't play in a position where he's easily marked. He ends up drifting out wide, mainly wide left. And, you know, Bergkamp and Canu, they drop off, and then when they receive the ball, he's always looking to running behind defences, and he's so quick. And when he's offside, you know, you may not get the decision, but he's so quick, he can give players yards and still get there. And I think he's scored a lot of his goals coming in from wide positions, and running onto the ball, and then it's a question of one-on-one. I mean, he's had some chances this year which I think he can't quite believe he's missed. He missed a couple against us, but he's still up there with the top goal scorers, and you know, if he continues and stays fit, then they've got a great chance, I think.
You remember when Ian Wright retired, Arsenal were talking about retiring his number 8 jersey. Good job they didn't. That's Freddie Ljungberg these days, and he's in some form as well right now.
Well, he's an unsung hero, I think. You know, he's dangerous. Once again, great pace. And, you know, they saw the game last week up at Ipswich. You know, he had a major part in that, scoring and clearing one off the line. And they're the players that you need to complement the Henrys of this world. And, you know, I think that Arsenal, as I said earlier, I think it'd be down to them if they're not in that top spot at the end of the year.
Jeff Shreves caught up with the Gunners' new goal machine this week.
In-form gunner Freddie Ljungberg has more than earned his stripe. The colourful Swede has struck 4 times in the last 3 games, which is more than impressive as he considers himself to be playing out of position.
Before I arrived here, I always played between the strikers, in like a 5 in the midfield, and just play behind the strikers. But we don't play like that in Arsenal, so that's why I have to adapt to another role. And I felt it was difficult in the beginning, and I'm still learning some bits and parts of it, because I never played there before I arrived in England. But yeah, now I play there every game, and yeah, like sometimes in the end of the games I go up as a second striker, but yeah, I'm getting used to it.
How much are goals a part of your game?
To be honest, not that much. I mean, I've been lucky to score some goals this season, but mostly I think it's important as a midfielder that I create space for that, or for the strikers. To put the ball in for them, and that's my main target. And to get goals for me is a bonus, but of course it's always nice to score goals.
Arsene Wenger has recently described Ljungberg's development as nothing short of amazing.
I signed a new contract in the summer, and the boss showed, what do you call it, good confidence in me, that he wanted me for the future. And then you get a lot of confidence from that, from the boss, and I think that is much easier to play. And I mean, I try to work hard in training and try to develop as every player, but if he says that, yeah, I'm happy.
But the bald truth is, it's not Freddie's fancy footwork or goals that catch the eye. Dyed, spiked or shaved, you name it, he's done it, and still doesn't understand the fuss.
I think it gets more attention here than it gets like in Sweden, where it's much more common to dye your hair. And
what, does everybody look like that in Sweden?
Many of them do. It's not that. Yeah, what do you call it? It's much more different here than it's at home in Sweden. I've always, since I was like maybe 15, I've been colouring my hair, and I had it in different colours. And of course, maybe I wouldn't get, like you said, people talked about my hair if I stopped doing it. But at the same time, I wouldn't be myself then. And I think it's important that you are yourself, and that's who I am.
They say success breeds success, but Ljungberg disagrees. He says Arsenal are both haunted and driven by the heartbreak they suffered at the hands of Liverpool in last year's final in Cardiff.
I think, or personally anyway, especially after the FA Cup final, like I said, I think we played really good football, and I think we deserved to win it. And then Liverpool, you know, they were defending, and then they just came up and scored 2 goals in the end. And of course they got all the glory and stuff to win it, and they deserved it because they won 2-1. But I was very, very disappointed about that, because I think we showed that we're a good team and played really good football. But in the end, it's about winning trophies, and I think all the players after that one, they really felt hurt. And this year we want to show that we can win some silverware.
Everybody talks to me about hair, and that's no surprise, but to go around with your barnet like that...
You've got to be a good player to do that, haven't you? And he is. He is.
Paul Merson comes back to Highbury today. I think it's 7 occasions now that he's met and played Arsenal since he left here, and hasn't finished on the winning side yet. I think he'd confess to still being a gunner. Smoker,
yeah, once you've been here, stays in you, I think. And Mercer was here for a number of years. Had a few clubs since, but you're always attracted back. Be a big day for him today. I mean, he's not been in the side regularly this year. He's had some injury problems, but got back in the last couple of games, and always makes things happen. Merce works hard, and he's a great inventive player. You know, he gets on it, always thinking. Balls like that, you know.
Such a wonderfully gifted player, and with so much promise early in his career. Did he ever really meet the potential that he had?
He probably didn't. I mean, when I arrived at Highbury, he was only about 18, 19. I played up front with him, and he was the best player I played with up front at Highbury in terms of a relationship, and he was brilliant. But then George Graham moved him out to the left, and he hadn't got a left foot to save his life, really. And but his ability could cope with it, you know, he got away with it. Merce would say his best position is in this position, just supporting the central strikers, in the same way that Freddie Ljungberg likes it. He scored so many goals like that. He just loves to have the ball.
Children, by the way, Ben, Sam and Charlie are mascots here today. If he was the best partner you ever had, what does that say about Ian Wright then?
No, I'm not saying he was the best striker I ever had, but for me, he was on my wavelength. And I'd love to have seen him stay up front, actually.
And that's Paul Mercer, the Villa skipper today. And with the mascots, I think that's a rather nice touch from Highbury, don't you?
Yeah, his boys are soccer mad. They've been on a few of my soccer schools, and they'll enjoy it here today.
Aston Villa, you lost a goal to nil.
Yes,
they went top. Was that what we've come to expect from Aston Villa? Was that a grind?
Well, since that game, I think he's lost some influential players. I know everyone talks about injuries, but obviously Schmeichel's out, and he lost Melberg for our game, but he's got him back now. Alpay's out, and he's got Hadji and Catchlau both missing as well. And he's changed the shape, John, from playing 5 at the back last year, which perhaps in the way they played it was a bit safety first, and he's changed it to a 4, and perhaps that's where Paul's a little bit suffering, because as you say earlier, last year he played in a spare role in the midfield and got a lot of freedom, but it's a little bit more defined now, and you know, I think they're a strong outfit, no matter what side. As Doug was saying earlier, you know, he's got players in the stand. I think John Bortwell in the summer, and you know, whatever game you go to see when Villa's involved, you know they've always got a chance.
Well, they don't lose too many, that's for sure. No. All the games between these two, largely because Arsenal have been around in the top league almost forever, have been played at the top level. 144 now down the years. Arsenal unbeaten in 5, and they've won 3 of those 5. Villa fans will well remember the last time they beat them, 3-2 at Villa Park, December 98. 2 down they were. They came back to win it 3-2 with a couple from Dion Dublin. Arsenal here unbeaten in 7, and they've won 4 of those, the last 3 in a row. Leeds have already won today to take second place. Arsenal want to put that to rights before pushing on with Liverpool in their sights. Join our match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Richard. It's only 2 weeks since Andy and I were standing here before they played Manchester United. Arsenal had let 4 in at home to Charlton. They'd been rather disastrous away to Deportivo La Coruña. And suddenly, it's all glowing again for the Gunners. Amazing 2 weeks.
I think that was we talked about it on the day, the game here against Manchester United, Martin. I think it was a massive, massive game for both clubs, but particularly Arsenal with their home form prior to that. And it's no surprise to me that that result has coincided with an upsurge in confidence, an upsurge in form, and I tell you what, Villa are going to have a tougher task today than they would have had a fortnight ago arriving here, I can assure you that.
Yeah, especially with the news that Leeds United have already won today. Great result for them. So let's have a look at the teams for you. And with Europe now put to bed until the end of February, Arsene Wenger can now be consistent in his Premiership selection. Of course, still taking into account the injuries to his top 2 goalkeepers and the club captain, though Tony Adams was back in training yesterday. Just one change, Dennis Bergkamp's late trickery against Juventus has earned him a start in place of the player he replaced on Tuesday, Kanu.
Well, it's the back 4 that keeps developing, evolving. It certainly has evolved full circle now. No strangers now to Arsenal colours, these 5 players. Well, Taylor probably is, but when you look at Campbell and Upson, Martin, I wonder if that is the future ahead. And this is only the 5th Premiership game this season they've played together. Only conceded 2 goals, and I think that's a partnership that Arsene Wenger wants to cultivate, wants to give it more games. Martin Keown won't like it, of course, but they haven't done a lot wrong, those 2, and they'll be looked at again to give them that nice solid base to build from. In midfield, well, it's hard to pick these, honestly, Martin. They just rotate so well. Their movement is brilliant. Ljungberg and Perez give them real attacking options from wide areas. They don't play as wingers, they don't play wide. They'll tuck back in when they lose the ball, but when Arsenal gets it, watch the pace that comes from Ljungberg and Perez, and that's where Villa's back 4 are going to have to be careful about. And then Pala and Vieira, 2 real quality players centrally. And up front, well, I wonder, Kanu or Bergkamp. That was a decision I thought he had today, I really do. And I think when you have runners like Ljungberg and Perez, and even Vieira at times coming from deep, If you can then put in somebody who can pick holes, open locks, then that is Bergkamp for me.
Dennis Bergkamp's been saying a little bit about not being in the team, hasn't he? So he's got his chance to do his talking.
His substitute inclusion in midweek was good because he was really effective and created Ljungberg's second goal, and that was a big moment for him. That's what he'll be looking for Bergkamp to do.
Well, the expected Aston Villa absentees like Delaney, Alpay, Hadji and Kashlul, and hopes for a Peter Schmeichel return have proved in vain. So it's the other Peter, Enkelman, in goal. J. Lloyd Samuel has been recalled from Gillingham to play at right back, and that's the only change from the Villa side that drew at West Ham in midweek. So Gareth Barry continues in midfield, and it's Merson and Dublin in attack, with Ankel and Vassell still on the bench.
Well, I always think the best way to play Arsenal here is to try and keep the ball from them, try and keep possession yourself. And the other thing is where you defend, where you take your starting space. I just wonder if they'll try and push up, if they'll try and force Arsenal back, leave space in behind them. I tend to think not. I think they'll give themselves some depth and good starting positions, because that's important. Don't let Henry, Perez, Ljungberg run in behind you. Certainly not early in the game. In midfield, well, with continued injuries, it's a makeshift right and left for me. I think Hadji and Kashlul would certainly play there if they were fit, but it's Steve Stone and Gareth Barry, who's certainly had enough to say about not being in the side. He's in it, not in a position he probably wants to play, but in a position he can play. And I think when you're looking for a goal from those four, then Lee Henry's the obvious one. I think he'll try and drive forward and supplement Dion Dublin. And it'll be interesting to see Paul Merson's position, Martin, whether he actually plays as an out-and-out front runner alongside Dublin, or whether when they lose the ball he drops back in, makes it 5 in midfield, and then plays from there. I don't expect Dion to run over the top too often. He'll be a target man, get it up to the big man, hold it, and then get support players up to him.
And he scored a lot of goals playing against Sol Campbell when Sol was with Tottenham. 6 in the last 4 meetings. 6.
Well, I tell you what, they've got good players right and left. You see Stone and Barry there, natural right and left footers. If Dion wants service and they get the ball wide, then he should certainly get it.
Well, a lot of thoughts, of course, about the future, where Arsenal will play in years to come, with this vital meeting tomorrow. And Arsenal prepared to find £300 million to stay in the borough of Islington for a 60,000-seater stadium. Highbury itself will be turned, if the plans are approved, into a residential development. The east and west stands on either side of the ground, they will be retained and refurbished, and the pitch itself will be converted into a communal garden. They've usually done things tastefully, Arsenal, down the years. The Arsenal way, they call it, and certainly they're trying to carry that philosophy forward at a very big time in the intended development of the club. And I think it's certainly not intended as a threat, but if it doesn't go well with the council, it may have to be that Arsenal move elsewhere. Here's a man with plenty of Highbury connections. Paul Merson and his 3 children are the mascots today, and Paul's thought, well, it could possibly be my last game at Highbury. Obviously he hopes not, he's 33 now, but he's making it a family day. And of course he comes back to the club that he left in 1997 as the captain of the opposition, as the captain of Aston Villa. But it's not been a great few weeks for Villa, who led the Premiership at the end of October, but they haven't won in their last 5 league matches. Though they were seconds away from victory, of course, at Upton Park on Wednesday. Well, the mood is with Arsenal. The manager's signature on his new contract, and 4 straight wins, a sign of good times again for the Gunners. Will Patrick Vieira pledge his longer-term future now that Arsene Wenger's done the same?
I think it's an easier decision for Patrick. I really do believe, Martin, that the French contingent here at Highbury are hugely influenced in what they might do in the future by who would be their manager. That's been resolved. It's going to be a Frenchman. It's going to be the man that brought them here. It's going to be the man that's kept them here. So far, the thing that will keep them here in the future for me is winning things. These players want to win things, and if it can't be achieved at Arsenal, then even though Arsene Wenger is committed here, I think they might look elsewhere.
Well, as tomorrow Arsenal focus on future plans to leave their famous home, today they look to continue this Highbury hot streak. Formidable performances against Manchester United and Juventus recently. It's Aston Villa today. It's live.
Fan Zone amongst the features available on Sky Sports Extra today. Representing Arsenal, Peter Krieg. Mark Knoll is our Villa representative. A reminder, if you're watching on Sky Digital, you can play the sports quiz and access the Sky Active menu simply by pressing the red button on your remote at any time. Newcastle are winning at Ipswich by 1-0. It finished at Sunderland 0-0 between Peter Reid's side and Chelsea. Leeds won at Blackburn earlier in the day by 2-1. Now it's over to Arsenal and Aston Villa with Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Well, Thierry Henry won't want to leave Highbury, the happiest of hunting grounds for him. He scored in each of the last 6 games he's played at Arsenal's current home. Paul Merson with memories aplenty of this place, including twice helping Arsenal win the championship. So, as Richard said, Leeds have already cut Liverpool's lead to 4 points. Arsenal can cut it back to 3 if they win this one. But they will be mindful that Aston Villa's best result this season was at Anfield, where they won by 3-1. There's a chill in the air in North London. Arsene Wenger now formally committed to the club until the year 2005, and who knows, maybe beyond that. Arsenal wanting to continue with the momentum that they've had over the last couple of weeks. 1 or 2 comments, Andy, over by the dressing room before the game. We mustn't let this become after the Lord Mayor's show. Wonderfully thrilling win over Juventus, to say nothing of beating Manchester United by that same 3-1 scoreline. And here's Robert Pires. Henry on the dance. Ljungberg. And he hasn't been missing recently, but he missed by the proverbial mile there.
It's quick to him. It's a lovely ball. Whether Sol Campbell meant that right to left ball to Pires, it certainly was a beautiful ball. This is just a, well, it's there on his left foot, it's there to be hit. Normally when you're on song, at least you hit the target. Not quite there, but talked about after the Lord's Mayor show, I don't think so, Martin. I think there are maybe 1 or 2 teams in the Premiership where they might have come into maybe just a tad less than fully focused. I don't think Aston Villa come into that category. A team up there with them, they know that they're going to have to play well. I think Arsenal today, Villa, not an easy team to beat.
Alan Wiley is the referee. He's just having a word here with Ashley Cole.
Slightly missed time, to say the least.
Rather philosophical Steve Stone.
I think that tackle 10 minutes in would have got a booking.
Staunton looking to get it wide to Stone, but Pires able to cut out and look to counter-attack. Ljungberg's made that familiar run infield from the right-hand side. Here's Gareth Barry. Half a dozen caps for England, remember, but he's not been involved under Sven-Göran Eriksson, who is here today with Tord Grip. So a chance to impress. Merson, the flag has gone up. Henry ahead of Cole. Campbell and Matthew Upson bedding in as the first choice centre-backs, again keeping Martin Keown out. Tony Adams is on the mend. We'll see what happens when he's fit. Vieira, Henry, accelerating in front of Staunton, who certainly might not be so quick at movement, but Steve Staunton's very quick-witted at the back.
Well, he's got the experience. They say the first couple of yards are in your head. He's going to need them today if he goes one-on-one against Henry. But early on, I think when Arsenal get it, you can see the back four of Villa just giving themselves a little bit of depth. They're not trying to hold a line. They're not trying to leave space in behind. I think that's a sensible thing when you come here, certainly early on in the game.
It was interesting there, Andy. Paul Merson took a position way goal side of the Arsenal back four, knowing he couldn't be offside from a goal kick, and Enkelman can really kick it. And as the ball dropped, Arsenal was struggling to repossess it, and Merson got himself and his side a free kick. He's trying to get round the back now as Staunton lines it up. Oh, and Stuart Taylor spilt it. Play hasn't been stopped. He seemed to have it firmly in his grasp, and then maybe as he landed, it wriggled free.
That's exactly what happened, Martin, and isn't he thankful? I think it was Matthew Upson that just nicked round the back. And what an important little interception that was from the centre-back.
Right. Hendry, who was sent off in this fixture last season, which Arsenal shaded by 1-0.
Now, the referee got it wrong, I'm afraid. The linesman got it right. Knew it was Arsenal's throw. Ball came off, Lee Henry. Alan Wiley didn't quite see it.
Boateng bending it past Pires, headed to the feet of Steve Stone. Haven't won here, Aston Villa, since 1993, when Ron Atkinson was still the manager, but they've invariably made it very difficult for Arsenal.
Well, that's been the name of the game under John Gregory, is making life difficult, not being an easy team to beat.
Well, started with 1 or 2 bright moments here. They've got another free kick. And some attention needed for Vieira.
Well, he doesn't usually go to ground very easily, Patrick Vieira.
Well, Gary Lewin, the physio, I think, first of all, was checking with Patrick Vieira what the problem was, and he hadn't quite seen it from his vantage point. It's obviously the knee.
Well, we'll be hoping it's a kick, Martin, a knock rather than a twist of any kind. He just tries to nick it here. And then I think there's a clash of knees, actually, just as he flicks it over him. And if that's what it is, he should be able to see that off okay.
It's a very painful part of the anatomy, a bang actually on the kneecap. It'll really take the wind out of the sails, but as Andy quite rightly says, you can get over it pretty quickly. Staunton takes it. Free kick that we were waiting for while Vieira was getting his attention.
Well, Cumbersley would have been interested in those 2 free kicks. I think his team got 2 goals, didn't they, from running about that kind of position.
And they should have been about 8 down at that point.
Oh, he said it wasn't quite as bad as that. He conceded maybe 3 or 4.
Well, they certainly took advantage of the rest of the game, and had a couple of splendid results. Charlton more recently as well against London opposition. Right. Lauren, the established right back. Lee Dixon still not back in full training. But Lauren might have to go off to the African Nations Championship with Cameroon in January. And Arsenal have got some important games, including Liverpool here. Patrick Vieira's back on in this game. Arsenal play Liverpool twice either side of the Christmas holidays, and I'm delighted to say you'll be able to see them both with us. Melberg recovering there. Bergkamp not quite in the Henry class when it comes to sprinting.
Just felt exactly that. Had that been Henry, we might well have been looking at a strike on goal.
Another impressive kick from Enkelman. This is certainly pushing on. to get the ball into Paul Merson's feet initially, Gareth Barry, but it wasn't on. Looked for support more centrally in midfield, as Alan Wright does. Boateng, who's now a full international, he got his first cap for Holland in November. You might remember we spotted Rudy Kroll coming over and having a look at George Boateng when we did the Fulham game. He liked what he saw. Cole, who's recovered from a dip in his form, which he was the first to admit. Things have happened very quickly for the Arsenal left-back. Pires. But Ljungberg and Henry both running away from him. In the end, it was a little bit uncoordinated, that Arsenal attack. Parler. Ljungberg now. Boateng. Nelson trying to feed it in to Steve Stone. Arsenal in and about Stone very quickly. Now Dublin. Nelson again. Barry.
A little sloppy, I think, to be fair though to Gareth Barry. If you've got Dean Dublin there, Martin, you'd expect him just to be pulling on the shoulder of Upson, I think. And he was looking to drop it over the top. It wasn't a great ball in the end, but I think the idea was a decent one.
They've been short of goals, Aston Villa, just 2 in the last 6 games, but those 2 goals got them a point at Leeds and a point at West Ham. Dublin's, of course, came in the opening seconds past the former Villa goalkeeper David James on Wednesday night.
And you think these 10 outfield players that John Gregg had to pick with the injuries that they've had to cope with, have only got 4 Premiership goals between them all season.
That's Ljungberg's pass, well anticipated there by Enkelman.
Yes, it was. Really good positioning.
Could have been comparisons today between Seaman and Schmeichel, but the stand-ins are pretty starry, aren't they? Stuart Taylor played very well against Juventus, particularly early on when the Italian club tried very hard to get a grip on proceedings. Enkelman saved a penalty from Paolo Di Canio on that Wednesday night. Here's Alan Wright. Staunton. No shortage of left-footed players for John Gregory today. And with England looking at that left-footers, of course, Gareth Barry hasn't had a mention under the current management. Henry. Pires on the Arsenal left, but right-footed, which often brings him into shooting positions.
A little ambitious, but it did sit for him. I often wonder, a lot of teams would have taken that down, taken a full back on, get crosses in. It's not the Arsenal style. They very rarely get to the line and put balls in for players to come and meet with the head. They always like to try and get a finish.
Well, the England point of view represented by Sven-Göran Eriksson and Tord Grip today. Tord Grip actually found this out only today. Played once for Aston Villa reserves 40 years ago. Couldn't remember who it was against, but he said he definitely won the match. It's a bit like you, Andy, only remembers the wins.
Quite right. Nothing for being second, mate.
Well, if you get in the Champions League, of course.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can't put that in your mantelpiece when you're finished playing, mate.
Absolutely right. Terrific run by Lee Hendry, and Ray Parler recognising the danger, but Hendry for a moment had got away.
Well, this is the type of run I talked about Henry makes. It's a beautiful run in behind Parler. I just wonder if the touch doesn't do him any favours, Martin. But if he fair to Parler, he got back in, he realised he'd allowed him in behind. It's a wonderful block in the end.
A tremendous pass as well from Samuel. Now, Steve Staunton's capable of scoring direct from these sort of corners. Comes out to right.
Well, why not? Wouldn't be the first time Alan Wright smashed one in from that kind of area for Aston Villa. Worth a try.
Over 300 games now for Aston Villa. Signed in March '95. He actually left Blackburn before they finished winning the championship. He didn't play often enough to get a medal that season. Now he's got to deal with Ljungberg. And they certainly played the ball. It's an Arsenal throw, no more than that. Parlour. Vieira. Able to cushion it. Vieira. Barry's defensive qualities helping Villa here. Cut out by Samuel, who's played regularly in his time at Gillingham on loan, and will have benefited from league action. Pires. Ljungberg, never quite close enough to really throw himself at the cross. Lauren. He might not be the biggest, Alan Wright, but he's very nimble, and Ljungberg just trying to shift it to one side to get a cross in. Wright matched him for movement.
Classic example there. Watch the ball, not with the player zooming his feet there, Alan Wright. But this is the first real bit of sustained pressure anyone's had to deal with in the match. 15 minutes in.
By Vieira. Hasn't scored for Arsenal this season. His last goal was in the FA Cup semi-final.
I think you'd expect that sort of advantage in possession early on in the match here, as Villa will look to just take the sting a little bit out of the attacks.
Hero's getting his shirt tugged by Stone, but he kept the ball. Held off Boateng as well, which takes a bit of doing. Cole. Henry. Headed out by Staunton. Back by Pires. Another left-footed ball forward from Aston Villa's right back, J. Lloyd Samuel.
Well, he certainly has options, John Gregg, if he wanted, Martin. He has certainly the player and the personnel out there to shift to three at the back if he wanted. Quite comfortably do that. Gareth Barry out there, J. Lloyd Samuel out there.
Right. Gareth Barry is still only 20. To say 6 full international caps, over 100 games for Aston Villa, but on the sidelines recently, and I suppose when you've had so much so soon, it can be difficult to deal with.
I suppose when you think you ain't done a lot wrong either. I can't remember him doing too much wrong in football matches I've seen him play. When the manager brings in two centre-backs, buys his own pairing, and then resorts to a four at the back, Martin, I suppose you might think, well, wait a minute, it just might be me.
Henry. It's an amazing statistic about Thierry Henry, that all Arsenal's wins this season, both in the Premiership and the Champions League, Henry has scored every time. That's 7 league victories, 4 in Europe. Rather important to the cause.
No wonder they stick him on penalties there.
That's score when they lose as well. I know. As Charlton would testify.
You might as well get a penalty early on. Let's stick him on. If he scores that, that could be 3 points. That should be.
Pires. Vieira seems okay after that bang on the knee. Parler. Bergkamp heading for the corner, and the ball put into a pretty near perfect position for him. In for Henry. Incisive Arsenal play.
Just too much on it, that's all. Just needs to let it brush off the foot, but what a run. We expect Henry to make these runs, but Bergkamp, wonderful run, beautifully fed in. I think he's got to go with the left foot because he arrives there when the left foot's the one to be prodded out. But you can see he just gets a bit too much on it. Brushes the instep, probably goes in.
Yes, he'd opened the side of the foot up, hadn't he? To try and just steer it. Use the pace on the ball, but perhaps there wasn't quite enough pace, but it was still a pretty good ball from Dennis Bergkamp, and Henry had covered so much ground so quickly to be in at the near post.
They were ahead, way ahead in possession and on pressure territorially as well. It's been a pretty good start for the home side, but that really, Martin, the first real opportunity, first real scare for Aston Villa.
And they are good at making it difficult for opponents. Remember, they started the day fifth in the league table, and they have been top this season. But the hard part when you're trying to beat them is making that first breakthrough, and almost 20 minutes gone, Arsenal haven't managed it yet. Parler, he and Ljungberg very interchangeable. Vieira. Pires. Nicely timed the movement forward by Ashley Cole. It's a cracker too from Cole. Turned aside by Enkelman. Ljungberg tries to reclaim it, but it's a goal kick. Ashley Cole really connected.
What a save this is, Martin. This is typical Arsenal football. They work the ball across the pitch quite beautifully and patiently. A fantastic strike, but the goalkeeper's up to it. Wonderful save, low to his left.
Well, with the shock of blonde hair from a distance, you could think with a save like that it is Schmeichel. But it's not the Dane, it's the goalkeeper from Finland. Touch on by Dublin, it's Merson! Paul Merson back at Highbury. A goal for Aston Villa.
Well, what a blow. To say against the run of play ain't an overstatement, but Dion Dublin's ability in the air so important. And what about Merson? Took a chance, took a gamble in behind, and when Upson doesn't deal with it, and that's the reason it's gone in, Upson doesn't deal with it as it drops there. Unsure about what to do with it, Matthew Upson. But I tell you what, Merson wasn't, was he? He's in, he brushes him aside, he's as cool as a cucumber.
Well, he has scored against Arsenal once before, but that was at Middlesbrough, poor Middlesbrough. To come back to Highbury and get a goal,
yeah, that's a bit different there.
And in front of his family, the Mascots today. And right from the off, you sense that Paul Merson was very much up for this game. And he's embroidered it with the opening goal. Parler. The top two, the two up top, if you like, for John Gregory. The perfect combination.
Might not even been Dion Dublin that got the touch mark, but what Dublin does do is he makes life so uncomfortable for centre-backs when the ball's in the air. Whether he's actually winning it, whether he's stopping centre-backs getting a clear header. Might even have been Sol Campbell's head, it brushed on the way through. But Dublin's presence was the important factor there.
Well, if Dublin's not there, it doesn't get through, you feel. That's the simple truth of it. We mentioned at the start that Dion Dublin had a very good record against the teams that Sol Campbell has played in. Of course, they've been Tottenham teams. Pires. Vieira. Lauren. Ljungberg. Lauren wants it back and is able to get it back. It bounced off Staunton, back onto the Arsenal man, and it's a goal kick.
Well, you and I sat here 2 weeks ago and very much against the run of play, just like that. Manchester United went one ahead. It took a really big performance second half for Arsene Wenger's team to turn that round.
I think John Gregory will feel that his goalkeeper won't be quite as helpful to Arsenal as the Manchester United goalkeeper was that.
I actually think Villa's back four will play better as well, I have to say.
Another ball up towards Dublin, and again making his presence felt. Stone. Samuel. Oh, and that's a Hendrick. If he'd connected that, Arsenal could have found themselves two adrift. Norberg's header. Campbell's is not really a clearing one. Dublin trying to knock it down in Merson's direction. Working very hard, Aston Villa. Of course, Arsenal's Premiership record here, as opposed to their Champions League statistics, has been a rather patchy. Leeds and Charlton have won here. Bolton and Blackburn have drawn here in the league. And Aston Villa at the moment lead here through Paul Merson.
Well, it's a staggering start. That's the 12th Premiership goal that Arsenal conceded in what's less than 7 Premiership matches at Highbury. They normally don't concede that in a season.
Stoke. Good challenge by Upson. Bergkamp. For Vieira. Patrick Vieira for Arsenal. Enkelman stood tall, stayed big, beat it away. Arsenal have to be content with only a corner.
Just overcommitted midfield, and when Upson won a very good ball there, they had men ahead, men over.
Vieira going in the challenge with the goalkeeper. Near post corner. And Aston Villa have got J. Lloyd-Samuel down in their own goal area.
Well, that'll be a booking for Lauren, Martin. That'll be a booking. Handball, deliberate handball as well, I tell you. Because Boateng was right down this left side and clear. Lauren knew it. Stuck the arm out. Be amazed if he doesn't get a yellow card.
Alan Wiley calling him across. Trying to get away from the scene of the crime. The referee's attention, which was drawn to the injury for Samuel, hasn't distracted him from dealing with the disciplinary matter at hand.
Well, there was a second there when Villa wanted the ball out, with Samuel down in the edge of the box, in the 6-yard box, but after it broke out, they won possession. When Hendry was about to stick Boateng through, they'd no thought of putting it in play then.
Good call by Merson to Dublin. Because looked like a ball tailored for Dublin in the first place, and he suddenly pulled away from it. And now it ricochets off Parlour, with Staunton slow to pick himself up and certainly out of position. Pires. Parlour. Staunton's got back. Lauren. What a great angle for the cross. Marlow deciding not to go for the spectacular as the ball dropped, but there wasn't time to take the touch. Boateng.
good to see Dublin and Merson play, Martin, honestly. I mean, you look at Campbell and you look at Ups in the future, probably, of Arsenal centre-back partnership, and you look at Dublin and Merson at the tail end of their careers, you do have to feel a but when you see Merson, as keen as he is at the moment with his movement, their experience, it's a real test for the Arsenal centre-backs.
Henry and Bergkamp trying to plot an equaliser here. Bergkamp shot and Enkelman starting to go one way, was able to go back the other.
He's probably leading the little bend into the far corner.
Parla. Ray Parla foraging for Arsenal again.
I thought that was a corner for where I sat, but maybe not. He thought it was. This is where they get a wee bit narrow for me. You see Ray Parla trying to get the cross in there, Martin. And it just, if somebody was just offering wide, just to drop a little 4 or 5 yard ball off, and then the next one's coming in free. I do think at times when teams defend with numbers centrally and allow Arsenal the ball, if I was going to allow Arsenal the ball anywhere, it'd be wide.
It nearly got through to Merson again, with Dublin doing more than make a nuisance of himself.
Robson's one boot short at the moment.
Come on! Get into it! Well, there's no respite for him. Campbell does help out with a header. Run off of Parla's arm then, but they're able to go on and ping it down to Pires. Henry. Premiership's leading scorer. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank didn't add to his 11 today in that goalless draw at Sunderland. Henry with 13 in the league.
Well, plenty of attempts. We'd assume a few on target as well for Arsenal, yeah. The one that matters is Villas.
Boateng. Curl ball by Upson. Nicely delivered though along the ground by Boateng to Hendry and then to Alan Wright. Hendry.
Oh, unlucky son.
Sawstone, who wasn't marked.
That's the advantage that Villa have, man, is when they get the ball in that sort of position, they're very, very quick to say, where's our strength? Let's put it in the mixer, let's get it in. That wasn't a great cross, but it still was in there in an area where it caused Arsenal a little bit of discomfort. I think Arsenal's football at times is so precise and quick. There's so much pace in it that if it's just a fraction off, it doesn't just quite get there. I mean, when it's flowing and when it's clicking into gear, it's superb stuff to watch, really irresistible at times.
It's been a very high-class half hour here at Highbury, in which Aston Villa have played a prominent part, maybe a more prominent part than even they could have expected. John Gregory, who's gone back to the Dublin-Merson combination. They played against West Ham on Wednesday, and of course, given the West Ham's result yesterday, that now looks a better point for Villa. They were very, very disappointed. John Gregory himself was almost speechless at the end to lose the victory so late and have to come away with just 1 point. But by all accounts, it wasn't the West Ham of Old Trafford at Upton Park on Wednesday. They were nothing like the same side. My goodness, they must have played well for Glenn Roeder 24 hours ago. Campbell. David Ginola is here. Of course, he starts a 3-game ban next weekend. He might be recalling that he was once sent off at Highbury playing for Newcastle. Also got that FA charge to deal with that could well mean Christmas in France. An even longer ban.
Why doesn't he have to go training?
Well, sometimes these days, you know, it didn't happen in your day, Andy, but when players aren't available, they freshen them up, they send them away
Really?
to...
Yes. Right. I probably would have lasted longer then, eh?
Yes, he definitely would have lasted longer.
Just having a little word with Vieira and Stone here.
Unlucky Steve Stone, because he took advantage of a bit of distraction there. Patrick Vieira still hearing a word or two from the referee, cleared away, but the free kick was taken too quickly. Staunton then takes it in a different direction. Right, Hendry, Dublin, Hendry, it's Stone! It's 2-0 Aston Villa!
Well, there's some brilliant feet in here, Martin. I think it's Dion Dublin who eventually arrives. Just a really poor header here from Lauren heading it back in. But just watch the way they don't deal with it. Watch Dublin's little flick there. Absolutely superb to release Henry. And of course, yes, they do get a little bit of good fortune after that. Look at that. That was sensational from the big man. But they deserved that little bit of luck maybe at the edge of the box when it broke to Stone. And when it did, with one touch they set it, another to finish. This has been classic stuff from a team coming away, defending well, defending deep, working hard, but really making it count when they go up the other end.
Shades of the Steve Stone who won 9 caps for England. In Terry Venable's time, was a member of England's squad in Euro '96, certainly looked upon as a goal-getting midfield player then. And he's got a goal here to give Aston Villa a firm handle on the Premiership proceedings at Highbury. Well, Dion Dublin is a major player in this progress by Aston Villa today. His nous, his know-how, making it well, not a settled look to the reshaped back line that have been doing so well for Arsene Wenger in recent matches. Merson. Martin Keown's opinion on the conceding of those 2 goals would be interesting. Pires. It's a long way back into this game for Arsenal, but what you do know, that they are capable of it. Barry. Merson. Right, keeping it low. Aston Villa when Dublin was hoping for a ball towards the back post.
Well, Lee Henry really is giving them a problem, Mark. Every time he goes forward, he's not being tracked by a midfield player. Arsenal commits so many of them forward that Henry's be able to run in behind the midfield quartet, get in amongst Arsenal's back 4.
Merson on the move again.
And so is Henry on the move again.
Dublin. Back for Stone. He could have easily gone a bit further forward on that right-hand side where Samuel's pushed on. In fact, he's pushed on a bit too far. But this is admirable for Aston Villa. Lee Hendry does have 1 England cap back in the Glenn Hoddle days. Sven-Göran Eriksson cannot fail to be impressed with Hendry's contribution so far.
I mean, he makes as many runs forward as any midfield player I've seen in the Premiership, man. And if only he could add just a few more goals to that type of effort and that type of running, they'd find it really hard to ignore him at international level.
He's giving them another option, isn't he? Because it's not just the high ball up to Dublin, they can vary it through midfield. Bergkamp often needs some of their big-name, big-game players to click. Parler. Lauren, who was really culpable in the second goal with a very strange defensive header. we should maybe mitigate the circumstances by saying that right back isn't really his position. He's had to fill in there this season, and he's done a more than passable job, but there will be mistakes.
Been kind to. It doesn't matter whether you're right back, left winger. That was a bread and butter cross to deal with, and he didn't deal with it.
And there's a cross dealt with by Steve Staunton's head. Emphatically, that's the way to do it. Vieira, they'll be looking for leadership from him. Cole, Villa force them back. Stuart Taylor beaten twice. Staunton there again. It's off Stone. And Staunton saying, oh, he dropped that over the top. The flag has gone up, but Merson is running. Well, like I was going to say a 2-year-old, but a 22-year-old.
Well, he's up for it. There's absolutely no doubt about that. An awful lot here similar, Mark, to the 45 minutes we saw against Manchester United. An awful lot of possession from Arsenal, an awful lot of pressure. Manchester United were really deep in the first half, no real space for Arsenal. It changed in the second when the game opened up. I don't think John Gregory will want that to happen second half.
It's Campbell looking for Henry and finding him. Oh, Bergkamp, Ljungberg.
Not easy. Arrived quickly, skidding across the face of the box. I don't know why they don't look for this ball more often when they get it wide. Bergkamp's very close to putting it in on his own. Just didn't quite get it on the half volley. I think that's the thing for me. Just sits up just before it reaches him. That made it difficult.
Campbell up well. He's been feeling that his game is getting back towards the very highest levels. Looks a bit trimmer these days too. He's had a long layoff, an injury towards the end of last season. It restricted his training at the start of this. Vieira, Pires, Ljungberg. The difference, of course, Andy, making the comparisons with the Manchester United game, and there are many, but the difference is Manchester United didn't get a second goal.
Yeah.
Lauren. Met by Melga. Now Barrett. By Boateng, who's hurt for his pains. Going to be a yellow card for Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, this tackle comes in. I think he's a tad unlucky myself.
That's a booking of some consequence for Arsenal, because he will be suspended in 2 weeks' time, and in 2 weeks' time Arsenal are away to Liverpool.
The section of the country will be quite pleased with that then, eh?
Arsene Wenger would. Three minutes plus added time to go to half-time. Ljungberg. Well, Doug Ellis, the Aston Villa chairman, was our guest pre-game, talking about how good the squad is now. He doesn't need to spend any more money. Some of the players have looked that way, although John Gregory I have a differing opinion. Perez. Back for Perez! Well, it was a fantastic strike, but it didn't get the better of Enkelman, who's had an excellent first half. We shouldn't forget that.
Well, he plunges down to his feet very quickly here. I think that helps the goalkeeper. It's close to him, but it's travelling at a bit of speed.
Hendry, Dublin. And Hendry wins it back. Going to be 3 added minutes before half-time. Bergkamp really did jump well. Perez, Ljungberg just had to check to stay onside. Henry trying to get round the outside. Vieira. A goal for Arsenal now could really change the mood at Highbury.
Well, that's a great ball for me. That is an absolute peach of a cross. I have to say, when you're not used to it, Martin, you watch the Arsenal players, watch them all check 16 yards out. 3 of them stop, wait. No one drives in except Ljungberg near post.
Low corner from Bergkamp. First to it is Stone. Perez flicked on by Vieira, headed out by Barry. Standing firm in the centre of midfield, flipped forward by Lauren. Perez, Henry, Thierry Henry. Realised he had a bit more time and space than he might have expected in that position.
Good defending, good blocking at the edge there from Aston Villa. Big few minutes this in the match, Martin. The Villa can hold on to 2-0 going in at half-time. How buoyant they'll feel, how confident they'll feel about getting a result and seeing it through. On the other hand, to lose one now.
Hang on a minute, Lee Hendry thinks they're going 3-0 up, but he's had to check his run.
Flags up.
It's the Monday Night Football special with Richard and Andy tomorrow at 7:30, Sky Sports 1. An action from the FA Barclaycard Premiership on Wednesday. Liverpool against Fulham, Sky Sports 1, Sky Sports Extra at 7:30. Liverpool who'll certainly be happy, not with the news from Leeds United today. They've won at Blackburn, but certainly here at Highbury. Arsenal need to win to go second again and cut Liverpool's lead to 3 points.
He's done a great job with Tang first half, Martin, where Hendry has been the one to get forward and be a nuisance at the top end of the pitch. Boateng's been excellent in front of the back four, much like a man does for Liverpool. That's been his job today, and my goodness, he's done a good job of it.
And the application by Aston Villa has been tremendous. Of course, you need that away to Arsenal, and you, of course, would expect it from Premiership players. It doesn't always happen. Not always all on top of their game, human nature, but everybody, John Gregory from Enkelman at the back to Dublin and Merson up front, has put together a first half here that Aston Villa can be really proud of. Cole. Left in stoppage time. Arsenal rather tip-tapping about. And when it goes long, it goes straight to J. Lloyd Samuel. I think it was the last time Aston Villa beat Arsenal was at Villa Park in a game where it was 2-0 to Arsenal.
Half-time,
And it was Dion Dublin who led the turnaround. Well, Dublin's been very prominent in the 2-0 advantage for the away side in this game. And that side is Aston Villa. On a day when there have been a lot of thoughts about the new Arsenal stadium or the application for it. So what's happening at the old place that's of concern to the Highbury faithful, because with Paul Merson very prominent and scorer of the opening goal, Aston Villa have come here with their own agenda. Steve Stone ramming in the second. Dion Dublin has been tremendous, and Arsenal have a lot to do. It's Arsenal 0, Villa 2 at half-time.
Well, manager was flat, chairman was unhappy. There can't be now. Villa lead here by 2-0. Alan Kirbishley and Alan Smith are with us. We'll have a look at that again when we come back. But what a scoreline. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 2. If that's the word, perhaps we should use something stronger, but beaten by 10 wickets in the first test. What can England do about that? The second starts Tuesday morning at 3:30 on Sky Sports 2. And it is 2-0 to the Villa here. Alan Kirbishley and Alan Smith are with us. We should start with the Villa as well, because that's been a terrific 45 minutes, hasn't it?
Well, I think if anyone sees the scoreline at the moment, they'll all be saying the same thing, which has been happening a lot this season. What's gone wrong with Arsenal? Why are Arsenal losing 2-0? And the reason is because Villa have come in and done really, really well. And I think they should get a lot of credit. Not how bad Arsenal have played, it's how well Villa have come here and done. Because they've
What's been the key?
Well, I think they've set the store out and they're nice and solid. Obviously, goals help and change the game, but they've been nice and solid. Their back four has held as high as they think they can reasonably do with the pace about. But the four midfield players, certainly Barry and Stone, have doubled up every time Lundberg and Perez has got the ball. And Hendry in the middle of the park and Boateng have not given really Vieira a chance to settle, and they've niggled around him and stopped the flow. And great credit to Villa.
Alan Smith said right at the start, once a gunner, always a gunner. He's absolutely furious here. He's just not happy.
Not over yet, mate. Not over yet. No, there's a problem for them now, isn't there? I mean, 2-0, Villa are going to be very disciplined, as Alan said, and they're not playing with enough width for me. You know, Freddie Lundberg, we've got a good view here. Those diagonal runs he likes to make, he's just restricting their chances down the right. Lawrence having to overlap and come round, but I'd just like to see them use the full width of the pitch, because he's not the biggest anyway, and try and get some balls into the box from out wide.
Paul Merson does love a lob. 1 out of 1 so far. And didn't he take this well?
He's in those positions. I've seen him score countless ones, and look at that, using his pace. I mean, Matthew Upson I think he should have cleared it first time, and he was in 2 minds, but the execution was fantastic. He's done that for about 15 years in training, always likes to lob keepers rather than blast it, and he would have took a great deal of pleasure from that. It's a big game for him today at
He's been caught
Highbury.
alongside Matthew Upson has not seen the run, and he's not covered it, and he's been caught inside him, and he can't then get back. And Merson's his body strength has held him off, and he's got time to perfect the lob there.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing complicated about the method, was it? It was the R1-2-3 from the keeper. But it'll be disappointing for the two lads at the back.
Via Dublin, who played his part, of course, in the second, with some real quick feet in the middle of the box.
Well, this is a strange header here, because Lawrence went back into his own box, but they've cleared it, and they've rushed out and hoping to get 1 or 2 tackles in. And you need a bit of luck every now and then. He's bubbled around and felt great to Stone. He was just concentrated on keeping it down. I think lots of players get in this position and they want to break the net and go top corner and everything else, but if you keep it down, you've always got a chance, and you know, it's gone along the floor straight in the net.
They've had a bit of luck, haven't they? It's such a crowded penalty area there, but full marks to Steve Stone, tucking it away. I mean, he's done a good job today, hasn't he?
3-0, does that win it? 2-1, does that make a game of it?
I was just saying to Alan earlier, you know, we was in the 2-0 situation yesterday, and it's a difficult situation to be in. Certainly at home when you're winning 2-0, there's the fear that if you go for the third, and they creep back in it, the anxiety. But I think when you're away from home, it's a little bit different. You haven't got to please anybody. You know, they've got their fans here, Villa, and they've pleased them enough. So I can't see it changing. I think they're going to get behind the ball and hope to break with people like Hendry and try and get the third if they can, but they're not going to force the issue. And I think, you know, the longer it goes on and Arsenal try and pen them in, there may be a chance of a break, but I don't think they're going to do anything silly.
Leeds won today, and right now that's looking an even better result. 2-1 they beat Blackburn. It was goalless for Chelsea and Sunderland. Newcastle finished 1-0 at Portman Road. Here, it's Aston Villa, 2-0 up.
I just wanted to know where you got your trainers from.
Giorgio Armani.
Guinness World Records 2002. Guinness World Records 2002. Hundreds of new records inside. In the shops now.
Red Square.
It'll mess with your mind. Devil May Cry, from the creator of Resident Evil.
No, I don't think I have a window for you today. I got a feng shui consultant coming. Oh, that's him now. Gotta go.
Liverpool lead right now. 4 points the gap between themselves and Leeds United, who won today at Blackburn. We're with the leaders on Wednesday night. That's live on Sky Sports 1, 7:30 start at Anfield. And again, a week today, they go to Stamford Bridge. That's next Sunday, 3 o'clock start, Chelsea against Liverpool. Chelsea today, of course, goalless at Sunderland. And Newcastle 1-0 winners at Portman Road. Here, it's Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 2. Wiltord's coming on for Freddie Ljungberg. And Martin Keown will be a replacement, ultimately, for Matthew Upson. 2 changes for Arsenal. And Villa, I would imagine, as Alan Kirbishley said, as you were, because they don't have to do a lot, Alan Smith, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, the way they're playing, it's suited to defending this lead. Very disciplined, 2 banks of 4. And all the questions are on Arsenal's side. Just need to see a bit more, I think, at Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, as we've seen on the last couple of weeks. But it's going to be difficult for the Gunners now.
What's your view, Alan, when a player comes to you and says, I've got a pair of gloves, gaffer?
You asking me or Smudger?
You're a gaffer.
You got to say Curbs.
Curbs.
I don't have too many players that come into my dressing room and ask to wear gloves, but I'm sure I've got 1 or 2. Klaus Jensen springs to mind straight away, but...
it's all the Scandinavians.
It's not that cold at the moment.
I think somebody wore polo neck yesterday, though, Keith.
Arsenal are all gloved up and Villa hit, well, Mercer, yeah. But in the main, it's short sleeves and pretty businesslike. Is that a factor or not?
Not if you win.
I think
if you lose, you ask questions.
It's what we said before. Everyone's picking holes in Arsenal now, not giving Villa too much credit, and they've done a great job so far. I bet they hope they can carry it on, and you know, we had Doug Ellis on there before, and he was fending off all sorts of questions, and you had John earlier on, you know, wanting to spend some more money or hoping to spend some more money. Perhaps if they carry on and hold on to this lead, Doug's right, he's got a strong squad.
Absolutely right.
And,
let's go and join two more all gloved up, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
No gloves here, Richard. But Aston Villa should, as Alan Kirbishley quite rightly says, be getting the headlines for what we've seen so far. And Arsenal, who started the day second in the table, will be fifth if it finishes this way. Newcastle have won, Leeds have won. And of course, Aston Villa have an excellent chance of taking 3 points back to the West Midlands from what they've done so far. Will we see a different, more formidable side to Arsenal's game? Sylvain Wiltor's rolled his sleeves up, rather emphasising the need for those in red and white. Very much changes on through simply managerial preference rather than injury.
I think it's going to be more 4-3-3 mark for Arsenal second half. It'll be Parla, Vieira, Perez, narrower in midfield, pretty sure of that. Wiltor will be asked to play pretty much up top. Henri Bergkamp.
Perez. Here's Parla in behind Alan Wright, then checked. And the cross was deflected, and Sylvain Wiltor arrives into the match in some style.
Well, I'll tell you what, if this is his first touch, no, he's had one, but it's his second one. He gets involved in the build-up. Ray Parla wants to cross, he's not so sure what to do. Two little lucky bounces. I said at times you need a bit of good fortune in the area. Well, my goodness, to get it here. First off right, then off Barry. But what a volley that is. Controlled, accurate, powerful. What a game this is we watch. You just do not know.
Bergkamp, suddenly there's a buzz around Highbury again. And Sylvain Wiltor has been responsible for it. Arsenal fast out of the traps for the second half. The very last thing John Gregory would have wanted to witness. Martin Keown, of course, had a spell with Aston Villa back in the 80s. Vieira. Here's Cole. Henri. And Bergkamp got a touch, he can't. Vieira makes it his. Still Vieira. Henri's cross. Perez stops the first clearance being effective, but it's brought away by Barry. Campbell can cut it out, though.
Oh, someone's turned up the volume, that's for sure.
Bergkamp. Well, Samuel got to the ball, then lost his balance, which might have given Henri a chance to steal it. He too suffered from his loss of momentum, and Lloyd Samuel in the end defended well. Nicely done by Wiltor. Parla. When Henri was just adjusting a boot, maybe he was certainly not concentrating. He was still able to get there. Enkelman needed to go for it because Bergkamp would have been awkward for the Dutchman, but he might have been able to turn it back. Enkelman couldn't take the risk.
I think I'm looking at Thierry Henry, Martin, on the edge of the box. He's on his haunches. He's not. Must have taken a knock in that tangle with Samuel as we're both running for the ball.
Arsenal anxious to get on with the taking of the corner. Bergkamp, nothing left of him. Wiltor. Henri.
touch. Yeah, idea was good. Execution of a little back heel was excellent. His touch wasn't great then, but my goodness, it was a lot better moments earlier. He had a little touch there, but he just watched him. He holds his position, They get luck, yeah, but that was quick feet to set himself, and a beautiful controlled strike. Didn't just thrash at it, controlled it.
It's Wiltor under the microscope of the choir cam and passing an examination. If you were following him in that individual way, you'd have seen a perfectly executed volley. Well, he's only just been recently passed fit again after a spot of calf trouble. Staunton. We talked about that match at Villa Park 3 years ago when Arsenal were the side leading 2-0 away from home and came back to win 3-2. Is the boot going to be on the other foot today? Campbell getting too tight on Dublin.
No need to. So much flight in the ball there, it was always going to clear both players.
One of Arsene Wenger's great methods for solving difficulties for his team is to keep sending on forwards.
No, he's got one left.
Kanu.
This doesn't change, you can bet Kanu will be on before the end of this game.
Reverse free kick by Staunton. Which a better angle for the cross, but Pires preventing that cross coming in. Bergkamp with the start from deep. Pires somehow got it back. Brilliant football by Arsenal. They've got Parlour running on the right. This is a wonderful move from the home side, and I think Ray Parlour just took it initially wider than he would have wanted to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, you might have closed the book on goal of the season, Martin, had he been able to take that out of his feet. It's a really poor touch at the end of some beautiful, intricate football. From way deep in their own half. Watch this for touches. 1, 2. And then when they're through here, I just think his first touch is a poor one. It gets away from him wide. Never really a control. And with Henry in the middle as well, options were there for Arsenal.
Keogh. It's a loose header that's seized into by Stowe. Campbell and Vieira. Stone are filling in the sandwich. Pretty substantial filling as well, because he managed to keep going. Was really trying to jump, but Mike got penalised. Hit by Pires.
I mean, Villa would like us to see a tight, disciplined football match. Arsenal want to open the whole thing up, get the crowd up, get the area where the game's been played in as big as possible.
So much at stake, even this early in the season, with Sir Alex Ferguson saying it'll take miracles now for Manchester United to retain the championship. If they don't win it, who is going to grasp the nettle and then grasp the prize? Wiltor. Lawrence going into the middle. Carried out by Staunton.
Some of the crosses could only match the build-up play. Arsenal's, they really would have been a threat even before now, Martin. They've worked the ball into the top third of the pitch at times really well, but been really disappointing with their final ball in.
It's a search for precision, isn't it? Because they know they've really got to place it on the heads of the like of Bergkamp and Henry, who perhaps aren't going to make those runs to want to get free to head a goal. It's not the natural side of the makeup. But they can head goals, of course, and have done. Arsenal at the moment will take a goal any which way. It would bring them level after a first half that belonged to Aston Villa. They are dominant.
Yeah. Just telling George Boateng, Mark, to do what he did first half, and that's get yourself sat in front of the front, your two centre-backs. Life is becoming more difficult for them, Mark, because of what Arsene Wenger has done, basically, and Perez has hardly been wide in the second half. Steve Stone's getting sucked in at times, and when Arsenal switch the ball quickly, they can get Ashley Cole on the ball whenever they like.
Like here. I haven't looked in that direction, it's through the centre. Riley shakes his head.
Question had to be asked. Well, if that ain't a penalty, why is he not talking to him? Well, it certainly gets caught there for me. There's definitely contact from, I think it's Alan Wright at the end.
Shot from Lee Hendry at the other end.
Might not have been much, but the heels were caught. Might just have been outside as well.
Run from Wiltor. Barry. He's tripped by Fowler then.
Well, Lowren's made one or two really poor headers. I know he made one for the second goal, but even in the second half, balls that are just arriving at him with no pace on them, he can direct whenever he wants. He's giving possession away and offer pressure onto his back four. From these sort of areas, Villa are a threat. That's the thing as well. You don't want to be giving free kicks away there.
Nelson takes it. Barry knocked it back impressively. Boateng. And then Hendry was stretching.
No flag.
Perez. Cole. Open up by Boateng. We saw in that last passage of play when Aston Villa got forward. They're still prepared to push players on, as they were doing so well in the first half, and with Arsenal chasing the game, it promises to be an enthralling last 35 minutes. It's been pretty good up to now. Let's have another look at the penalty claim.
This is a decision he's got to make. If Alan Wright comes in from behind, certainly there is contact. It's not a lot, and I think that's what makes the decision a difficult one for Alan Wiley. And if he's not 100% sure, then he can't give it.
Dublin was complaining that he was pushed by Keown. Martin Keown, obviously a man with a mission to try and make sure that Dion Dublin doesn't have it as good in the air as he did in the first half. Hendry. Here's Barry. Got some elevation on that. Merson was waiting unmarked behind Cole. Henry. Taken from him by Boateng. Does that job so well. Merson. That's astutely guided for Stone. The goalkeeper started to come, whether he didn't call loud enough. Campbell did the right thing to get the ball away. Probably Stuart Taylor would have been able to snaffle that one up. There's no margin for error for Arsenal at the moment, having halved the deficit. Fuller got the two-goal cushion again. For a much taller order. Norberg up the Barry at the back post.
When you think the game's almost as such, man, that you almost think next goal wins it. You know, you think if Villa were to get that cushion again, it would be just a little bit too much for Arsenal. But should Arsenal get the equaliser with sufficient time left, then the impetus, the desire, the drive would be for the home side.
Anderson. Of course, Aston Villa were so close to winning in London on Wednesday. It's a victory that was snatched from them in the dying seconds. It's every incentive to go the full distance here. Doubling. Followed away by Parr. Covering player here is Staunton. Right. Hendrick. Barry's cross. And Taylor rather patsy. That was quite a strong pat in the end, and it cleared the penalty area. Perez got the ball past Hendrick. And Samuel on the ground. And the referee had to think about it, but blew against Thierry Henry.
Well, if that's a foul, then he has to book him. It's as simple as that, in my opinion. It can only be a deliberate trip. There's a coming together a bit. Well, and what he's got to decide is it just a coming together because they're crossing over? Certainly, look, Thierry Henry's going to run in behind Samuel. Did his leg come out? I think not. I think that's generous in the extreme.
Fowler. Nice to work between Lauren and Wiltord. Fowler's ball to Cole.
Great pressure from both Tanguy. Absolutely top class.
And he's not just dwelt on that, he continued to get involved with a forward run. And he's earned a free kick. Actually been some good signs for Villa the last 3 or 4 minutes, that they cleared their heads from the shock of conceding a goal so early in the second half.
Yeah, they have. I think that's fair. I think they're set up now. Just getting bit of the game. I don't think the rest contributing much to it at the moment.
The error, remember, has been booked. Getting both sides of the argument here, or discussion, shall we say. The referee being very precise about the placement. Staunton. Maybe in his mind that the goalkeeper is still learning his trade, Stuart Taylor.
Well, he would still know enough about Steve Staunton left foot, I would suggest. Most other people do. He's capable, no doubt about that, Steve. He's got a wonderful, wonderful left foot.
He's also got another World Cup to look forward to. Dublin. Barry. So what do you mean about Aston Villa getting back their belief, getting back to the way they were playing so admirably in the first half? Boateng. Hendrick.
Well, it's possession, isn't it? The football, 75-25, 4 or 5 minutes ago. That would be working its way back to Aston Villa.
Wilson's ball, and J. Lloyd Samuel has forced his way through here.
Oh, what a chance. I think Villa are half looking for a penalty, but the young lads,
he's looking
keenness
for a goal.
to stay up. Yeah, here it's a reckless attempt at a tackle from Martin Keown, but he wants to stay up. He thinks he can bend at top corner. Oh my goodness, how close is he to putting that there? There's nothing on his mind. He had a little glance. He couldn't get the ball back, I don't think, across the face of the goal. And he was so close, I think, to winning the game for Villa.
Wiltord. Backed up by Parla. Vieira. Here's Pires. Henry. Aston steals it away from Cole. In circumstances, that'll do. Well, we talked about sending on the fourth forward. Maybe one of the others will be withdrawn, but it's not usually Arsene Wenger's way to do that.
Yeah, you do think that, I can't see him taking off Henry, Mark, not the situation they're in. I think maybe Bergkamp, who took his place at the start lineup today, might be the obvious choice.
Good touch by Dublin, not the first today by any means. On from Hendry to Barry. Very solidly defensive header by Cole. It's actually a springboard to an Arsenal counter-attack here. And Melberg in an unfussy way. He's one of the Swedes that England will have to worry about in the World Cup. Didn't play in the recent international, wasn't fit back in November. But with others being injured for Aston Villa, they've been very grateful for his return to good health. Keown, goalkeeper's come for it. Knocked it towards Bergkamp. Parler. Bergkamp again. Is he within range for one of those bending shots towards the top corner? He went simply to blast it, and Gareth Barry blocked. Merson, as soon as the ball came out, looking to see what was on in terms of support.
That's stupid football from Dennis Bergkamp. We should know better. That's just relief pressure. He's going to be booked. He just kicked in at the back of George Boateng. He ain't going anywhere.
Possibly his last kick of the game. We'll see what Arsene Wenger has in mind. Certainly going to be an Arsenal change.
Yeah, it's Dennis here. I think that, to me, it was either, it had to be Bergkamp or Pires, but if you take Pires off, you then take off the natural width left.
Rather an inglorious exit, having left the field a hero on Tuesday. That wonderful piece of play that put Freddie Ljungberg in for his second goal of that game. And of course, for Ljungberg, it hasn't happened today. And maybe you can understand why managers do shuffle their packs and take into account the effects, and maybe the emotional effects as much as the physical effects of matches such as beating Juventus here in the Champions League. But now, Alan Wiley has given this in Dublin's favour. A real tussle there with Martin Keown, two veteran professionals of now Dublin!
But he's let it go as well, the referee. I have to say he's done Arsenal no favours today, Alan Wiley. He's been very bitty. Given a load of decisions that could have gone either way. Villa's way at the moment.
It's another of those breakouts for Arsenal where they wish they'd had Henry. In place of another, it was Kanu. Didn't have the acceleration, but here come Villa, who probably feel that their best way of winning the game is to get a third goal, rather than try and hang on to what they've got. Certainly continue to ask the questions.
Brilliant thinking from Dublin, wasn't he? So alert and so alive, and not sure who knocked the ball to him, whether it was Boateng or Henry. But Watford, a really, really good save. It might just have been curtains for Arsenal.
Pires. He's forced Henry further wide, almost out of play.
No one in the box. No one in the box.
Vieira. Wiltor, certainly in the box now. Deflection on the cross, that could work. And it's Pires! Was that a block by Melberg?
It was. What a block by the big Swede. They'll come much better than this. The forwards are scoring goals at the other side. Well, this is you as a defender scoring at your own end. This is just a brilliant block. He knows his header wasn't a great one, but goodness me, how important might that be? Out goes the right leg. Brilliant stuff.
Well, strikers have their goals of the season, goalkeepers have their saves of the season. Maybe we should start a category for defenders, blocks of the season. Yeah. I mean that quite seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. I've often said that. It's as good as a goal. We might find there's a bit of time at the end of this as well, Martin. We need stoppage time.
Pires. Oh, Henry is behind Samuel. Wiltor's in the centre. Enkelman, Henry gave him a chance of saving it, but he still played his part most capably.
Yeah, too big a touch on it. Really poor touch from someone like Henry, but Lee Henry on the ball. Oh, a really relieved young player. I think he was the one who actually inadvertently poked it through his back four for Henry to get onto.
Parla. The referee has stopped Arsenal in their tracks by awarding them a free kick. Martin Keown referring to the earlier incident.
I think he's been really fussy with the referee second half, I have to say.
Wiltor. Staunton again using that left foot defensively to good effect. Vieira. It's got to go right. Again, no one initially left. That was because Ashley Cole had to just help cover Paul Merson, who was drifting to his side of the pitch.
I think the game's still open because Villa quite simply are refusing to just defend, Martin. They're quite happy, as you said, to open it up and take men forward. So therefore the game is spread rather nicely for everybody watching it. Every chance that there's other chances or goals going to be created.
Oh, it's a strange thing. Oh, there's a mistake here by Samuel. Vieira with an early ball. And Thierry Henry, the right man in the right place. And Arsenal have levelled it. Patrick Vieira is thrilled with his part in it, but Villa hang their heads. Oh, and it's not over yet with Staunton. Henry wanting to restart the game. Oh, and what's Alan Wiley going to do here?
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm quite simply, I haven't got a clue what Alan Wiley's going to do. Henry wants the ball back. Steve Staunton won't give him it. He knocks out his arms and gets it, and he gets the card for it. That's for sure, but I have to say, let's talk about the beauty of the goal. All right, Villa make a mistake. The young lad here, he just dwells on it a bit too long, and he pounces, but what a ball in, Martin. Was he offside? It's really close, but what a touch it is, under pressure. That's the important thing. Can he control it? He does, and then he's just cool enough to roll it past Enkelman.
We're inside the last 20 minutes of a truly high-class Highbury encounter with Arsenal coming from 2-0 down, and now it's Boateng and Parla emphasising the desire for being on the winning side here. Thierry Henry has yet again come up trumps when it matters for Arsenal.
Well, he's given a free kick there. Linesman has. It's a handball. I'm not so sure he could have got out the way of that. But it's all about concentration here, I tell you, Martin, because this is danger. Staunton's left foot, Dublin, Merson in there. Got back in the game, might be a bit euphoric. Might think they're almost there, Arsenal. That could be fatal when this ball comes in.
Martin Keown made it his. Taylor comes, did well. Wiltor, Pires filling the space in front of it. And skipping away, Pires. Oh, Kanu was unmarked behind Boateng.
Well, you can see what he tried to do.
And that's come off Keown's head. And suddenly Dublin is making it difficult for Campbell, and then fouling Campbell.
Well, I'll tell you what, Martin, if they get a third Arsenal, the developers won't have to worry about taking the roof off this place. I think the supporters will do that for them.
But I suppose if they really wanted to reinforce their claims to Islington Borough Council, winning this match was nice, but to win it by coming back from 2 goals down would be extraordinary in its timing.
Oh, watch this big man's feet. He's an absolute nightmare. Look at that.
And the precious little Wiltor. Kanu.
This is when Villa have got to be brave as well, Martin. They really have worked their socks off. They've contributed to a really smashing spectacle this afternoon, and they wouldn't want it to go pear-shaped by conceding a third.
One or two players have got to be careful with their tackling as well, in the desire to turn it their way in the last 15 minutes.
I think it's still up for grabs, mate.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I did say next goal wins it. We'll see if that was the case.
Henri for Wiltor. Kanu in the middle. And it's, confusion.
Oh, dearie me, another question to be asked. Clumsy by Boateng on Kanu.
Making an awful lot of ground there. But there was an awful moment for Aston Villa here.
Well, it's just when it gets away. Look how clumsy that challenge is from Boateng. But give him the benefit of the doubt, I think, in there.
And maybe he's earned it with his performance today.
Yeah, he's been superb.
Pires, corner for Arsenal.
Chance against his old club as well. Free header, 6 yards out. Down and into the ground, gives the goalkeeper a chance, you know. Oh, he's disappointed, isn't he?
More than 5 years since his last Premiership goal at Highbury, and the wait goes on. He could have ended it then, and maybe ended Aston Villa's contribution. But John Gregory is now going to introduce Darius Vassell.
Well, it's certainly nothing but a positive introduction, is it? A striker coming on. In the last 13 minutes, Mercer's a man coming off. Oh no, it's Gareth Barry, is it? Yeah. And just pulling Mercer over to the left-hand side then. Yeah. I'll have to say that's positive. You take a defensively minded player from the left side of your midfield, you stick Mercer there, bringing on the front man on. Doesn't suggest he's settling for 2-2.
A manager who's seen his side twice in a matter of days lose leads in London. They did get a point at Upton Park. Will they take something back from Highbury? Kanu. Boateng. Run past Parlour and he can take it on. Merson. A switch of roll. Here's Vassell. Stone, the scorer of Aston Villa's second goal. All looking so good for them towards the end of the first half when he struck.
Well, it just popped up a ball there and that trio in the corner and just caught him in the face. Well, we can give us a little chance to look at Thierry Henry's goal, and you know, was he ahead of play when it was played in? Yeah, I think that's a really good decision from the linesman. He's onside, and it was all about 2 touches and composure from then on in. Relief at last.
In 14 in the Premiership.
Sensational.
For Thierry Henry.
Brilliant, that is.
Players at the moment to defend. Merson. And trying to steer it on for Purcell, who is Aston Villa's second highest scorer this season. The leading scorer is still on the bench, Juan Pablo Angel. Pires. Henry. Brave from Parla.
And that was very cool from Henry. They've got a break on here. 4v4.
Stone. Back for Guatta. 5 forward for Aston Villa, and Leon Dublin at the far post
Furious,
is
isn't he, Big
very,
Dion?
very angry.
Well, Dublin's pulled on Lowry, Martin, and I think you would have fancied it, Big Dion, against the full back of the back post. Really disappointed with Boateng. But I have to say, he ain't done much to disappoint you today, Boateng.
Confident to hook that infield towards one of his centre-backs.
You think he meant that?
Worked out well. Part of the joy of this Premiership season there. But the defending hasn't been great, has it, when you think Arsenal are leaking goals at home, Manchester United having problems getting there. Well, the defenders fitting on the field and shipping far more than would be expected. And 29 goals in 7 Premiership games at Arsenal this season. That's why the sides like Liverpool and Leeds, who have been defending effectively, well fancied. Parla. Wilton. Arsenal looking for the goal that will take them back to second in the table and leave them just 3 points behind Liverpool. With those games against Liverpool and Anfield in 2 weeks' time, and here in mid-January, looming large. Henry. A little bit of desperation.
Surprise! I mean, there's plenty of players here, but I suppose when you've got 14 and 14, no one's going to say anything to that man there about, oh, then you pass it, son.
It's not what you call a goal poacher, is it?
No, no, he's not. And if he was, goodness me, Martin, I don't know how many he'd get.
Cole. Vieira. Now Kia. 7 minutes plus stoppage time to go. First half conclusively Villa's. Second half conclusively Arsenal's. Kia.
He wants somebody left and no one moved. Vieira was rather slow, Patrick, and seeing what was happening.
I think Villa's game plan that has worked. They kept Ashley Cole back by putting somebody against him. It was Vassell on that occasion. Just that excellent shot Cole had in the first half when he did get forward. Retreated upstairs.
Well, he's probably thought, I've done all I can now. I want to entrust the lads on the pitch to see it through.
Samuel. Boateng. Here's Vieira. Wiltor. Get it back. Across on the cover and now finds himself at left back. Steve Stone's dropped in at right back and he's needed here. Kanu. Wiltor.
No one there. I was just thinking there, Mark, as that was developing down the left-hand side. There was no real desire of Perez's to drive in back post. He came in very reluctantly and very late.
Kieran making a late run, encouraged by the earlier chance. Deep enough from that time. By Hendry, and the rise for Sell is quick. Warren trying to curb him here. Sell going to ground, but that was what it was. And a foul by Parler. Henry. 5 minutes to go. Well, the flag's up. The flag is up.
Well, we need to see that.
So it stays at 2-2.
Well, Martin Keown's in the sideline. Something happened to him. He's booting. He was looking to Weller. Lost a couple of studs at one time, but he was off. Now he's back on again.
Merson. Hendry. Aston Villa still looking for a winner. Merson. He's set up for him. Vieira maybe taking it into trouble. He knows what he's doing. That is Will Tour. Vieira involved again. 1 of 5, 1 of 6 streaking forward for Arsenal here. Perez.
Oh, what a clearance for the young lad.
J. Lloyd Samuel preserved the parity here for Aston Villa.
What a break, and how involved was Vieira there, Martin? From his own penalty area to Aston Villa's. Fabulous drive and run.
To Ray Powell. Back to the corner taker Perez, lining up to knock it away. And Wright gets a foot in. Parler. It's as if everybody paused for breath for a second, and you would understand that. It's been a long bursting afternoon for everyone involved.
Well, it gives you a chance to finally clean up whether Will Tour is offside or not. Oh, can I tell you? Villa get lucky. That's not offside for me when the ball's played. Well, maybe hard work rewarded with a bit of good fortune. They certainly worked hard enough, Aston Villa, but we could see it's a tight decision. But one
Green put his flag up on the far side. And the comeback not completed.
On some such margin, small margins, man, I'll get out of a minute. The title's won and lost, I tell you.
Carney. Ankerman running the risk. I think he possibly would have got it, but it was no time to play the percentages there. He did what was necessary. Similar thing with Fabien Barthez, of course, on the corner of a penalty area late on at Highbury. A couple of weeks ago now. That was the catalyst Arsenal fought for changing their fortunes.
Well, I can't believe Will Todd ignored Ashley Cole there, Martin. Unbelievably. And Cole standing there, give me it, give me it. Will Todd surrounded by Villa shots. Well, I don't think, and I might be wrong, I don't think Thierry Henry's come out here to chip it in for someone to score.
Unless it's himself.
Well, he has to be quick then.
No, I mean, chip it into the top corner.
No, that's what I mean. I don't think he's come in here to chip it centrally. But no.
And he's gone to Wenger, but Enkelman actually seemed to read it pretty well. So much to talk about here, and Andy's verdict on the whole weekend with Richard tomorrow. Monday Night Football special at 7:30 Sky Sports 1. And a bonus for you, Liverpool against Fulham on Wednesday from the Premiership, Sky Sports 1, Sky Sports Extra.
a chance, Mark. I tell you, this big man's got some of the best touches you'll ever see, pulling balls down that he should never get near. This one's easy for him. Kill it and dink it, and it gets away from him off his shin. 4 minutes to go. A bit of time yet to see out. What a ball it was from Henry, though. The disappointment on Wenger's face when he miscontrolled it. Goodness me, he couldn't believe it.
So we're into the added 4 minutes. Henry. Mistake by Staunton. Well, he didn't reach it, and Melberg there to help out his defensive buddy. Very high kick by Enkelman. Particularly long one. Cole Pires made it his against a rather tentative Boateng, and Thierry Henry! In stoppage time, Arsenal complete the comeback. And if they win again, they'll look to Henry again, as they have done in every Premiership victory this season and every Champions League victory this season. The Frenchman is the main man. Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 2.
I can't believe this. It's a horrible kick from Enkelman. One of the better parts of his game, the big goalkeepers, but that's a poor one. And really, Pires shouldn't be beating George Boateng. That's the first mistake he's made all day. Boateng normally is through people. He didn't go through Pires the way he should have done. And the rest was history.
And here's Steve Stone, and there's Pires again. Samuel. Vassell. Oh, what must John Gregory be thinking? Deprived at Upton Park in stoppage time on Wednesday. So good his side here for much of the match on Sunday, and now staring at a defeat through a goal in the closing moments. Still 2 minutes of added time to go, but it's been coming for Arsenal, and Thierry Henry has delivered.
People pick the bones out of what is our Premiership down in England, Mark, and say it's lacks this, it lacks that, and it does this, and it doesn't do that. But I tell you, I don't know another league in the world that gives you this kind of excitement, this kind of drama.
Stand up on the back of you.
It is special, and this has been a special game. The run was a superb one, the ball was brilliant, and just like he's done time and time again, he's made that man's day.
Well, in the end, it looks as though it's going to be a smashing few days for Arsenal. It's been a terrific 2 weeks, hasn't it, going back to that Manchester United win, and a very similar finish from Thierry Henry, one of those goals that he slid past Barthez, the same side that he beat Enkelman just now. But just over the past few days, to beat Juventus brilliantly, to find that the manager, who is so much the guru here, has put pen to paper with the contract. A victory here, it seems, of spellbinding circumstances, really, to come back from 2 down. And then Monday night to come. We talk about our Monday nights. It's Monday night at the Islington Town Hall for Arsenal. And if they keep serving up entertainment like this, 60,000 in the stadium, it won't be big enough.
There's a belief there for me, Martin. I see it again today. I saw it against Manchester United. I've seen it again today. They rely on him, there's no doubt about that, but they all contribute. The service he gets is perfect for him at times. Well, I said to you what, maybe 35 minutes ago, next goal wins it for me. That next goal came to Arsenal. They've gone on, and they've surely got what must be the winner now. They ain't going to come out of this corner.
From down. Hands raised. Arsenal have done it. They're back in second place. It looked unlikely at half-time. They were second best to an excellent Aston Villa, who thoroughly deserved their 2-0 lead from Paul Merson and from Steve Stone. But Wiltor came on to score right at the start of the second half. The rest was down to Thierry Henry. A little wink to his many admirers here and around the world. that admiration can only have increased. And Arsenal, well, we know they've got the talent. They certainly showed the desire today. And they've come back to beat Aston Villa 3-2.
And there are days when you just want it to go on and on and on. Absolutely fabulous, to coin a phrase. Alan Kirbishley, Alan Smith are here. All the reaction and more to a super Sunday in every respect. They're spellbound and won't leave Highbury, watching replays of a storming second-half comeback. Within the minute of the restart, substitute Sylvain Wiltord made it 2-1. Then it really was game on. And of course, Thierry Henry was going to have a say. That was for 2-2 after 72 minutes. Wiltord saw another goal ruled out for offside, but 48 seconds into stoppage time, Henry, with his 15th of the season, that's where he does his damage, like that, for 3-2. And the man of the match, not surprisingly, is Thierry Henry, and he is with Claire Tomlinson.
Thierry, is one of the main strengths of this Arsenal side that you never, ever give up?
I think we showed once again that we're up to it, 2-0 down half time, and we try to keep going and try to play our game. And obviously, now it's easy to say because we have won it, so you know it's kind of, you know, important for us, because before we used to lose this kind of game, and obviously today we won again forward, and we showed, like against Man United and against Juve, that we're going to be tough this season.
At any point, had you settled for a draw?
Yeah, I think we had some chances, but I think even at the end of the game, if it was a 2-2, it would have been a great result. But now we took the 3 points. I think it's really important.
At 2-0 down at half-time, what was the mood like in the dressing room? Was there any belief at that point?
Oh, really down, you know. But at the end of the day, as we were saying in the dressing room, we needed to go back in the game and try at least to show that what we can do. And obviously, we came back. We scored an early goal. I think that was really important. And then after, they had a good period after we scored. We scored again, and then Robert Pires gave me a great ball. Patrick Vieira as well on the second goal did a great job and set me up for the 2-2. And I think it was really important to score the opportunity we had, and we have done it once again. But I really hope that now we're going to do it before we're 1-0 down or 2-0 down.
With Manchester United losing again this weekend, 6 games they've now lost, how important was it for you to win today?
Obviously, I think that they have to deal with their problem. I think we have to keep trying to win. And then, you know, when we were losing last season, no one was caring about us. So sometimes you have some difficult moments. We just have to look at us first of all, and then try to keep going with Liverpool and the other one. But I can tell you, Man United is a great side. You know, they have some bad moments, but it always happens sometimes.
Top scorer in the Premiership, Barclaycard man of the match. Another one of these for your collection. Well done.
Thank you.
Paul, you walked off the pitch shaking your head as though you can't work out what happened.
Most schoolboys' errors. Embarrassing. My little boy played today. He's under 9, he's under 8. So it wouldn't happen in their game. It's embarrassing. You know, you see one of the best players in the world, midfield players, with 1 minute to go, they're free to up, he boots the ball into row X. Why don't we do that? You know, and it's just disappointing. We work so hard and then we throw it away, and you can't defend like that against a team of this quality.
And that's the third time Villa have been done by late goals, isn't it?
Yeah, we sit back too often. It's the Premiership. There's schoolboy errors today. You know, when the ball should have been cleared, we tried to play. And then, as I say, you see Patrick Vieira, the best player in the world, puts it in row X. And that's the way you've got to do it if you want to win football matches.
Yeah, at half-time you looked strong and in command, didn't you?
Yeah, we played very well. It was the best we've played probably this season. And we dominated, but we knew they were going to come out and have a go second half again. And, you know, scoring after a minute of the second half was, you know, it was no good.
Was it a case of them steamrolling you with their power?
I think so. You know, we had a good chance. Dion had a great chance to score and make it 3-1 or 3-2, and he never took it. Keeper made a good save, and them situations change football matches.
Emotion day for you. Thanks for stopping, Paul.
That's okay. God bless.
Never less than honest, Paul Merson. Villa beaten here by 3 goals to 2. Oh, ye of little faith, Alan Smith.
You. What was that comment about the gloves at half-time?
Terrific. I know,
yeah, well,
just
they
an
worked,
observation, that was all. Stay warm and win, you see.
It's what we've become used to this season at Arsenal, isn't it? It's just thrills and spills at Highbury. And I thought they were getting close to keeping clean sheets, but it seems not.
Fantastic afternoon's entertainment, unless you're an Aston Villa fan. Sylvain Wiltord, within a minute of the restart, managers are paid to make decisions, Alan Kirbishley, and this was a big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think what Arsene Wenger's done is put Wiltord on. They've gone 4 up front, if you like. I think the 2 full-backs were going to be pushed in, and I was really going to try and pen Villa in their half and try and break them down. Deflected cross, it's fallen nicely for him, but he's had to keep it down. As we said about Steve Stone's goal, if you hit the target, you've got a chance of scoring. I mean, lots of players have had these opportunities and blazed them over. He's kept it down. Along the floor, gone in.
They needed that, didn't they? 1.5 minutes into it, that's what they needed just to get the momentum going, because Villa, the defensive mood they were in, I thought they would be capable of holding on to it, but once Arsenal get up that head of steam, they're just irresistible.
Villa, they also played, didn't they? And they asked some questions, particularly
at half-time. I think the game was set up for Villa to hit them on the break and try and get the third, but not, be a little bit cautious about it. And they did break well on a couple of occasions, and as I think Paul Merson said, they had a couple of chances to make it 3-1.
They put Vassell on as well, didn't they? They put Vassell on.
Well, when young Samuel got through, schooled at Charlton, 2 big moments for him today in the game. This is one of them.
Oh, I mean, that could have been a penalty if it had gone down. And then a little bit more composure. But he's
so close.
He's had to take it himself. I think if he'd have laid it back, they may have blocked
just
it.
pull away.
I think it's just the innocence of youth here, isn't it? I think another couple of years in the game, he might have gone down without thinking, but he's so desperate to get a goal on his big day.
Very unlucky.
He stayed on his feet.
Very unlucky.
If that goes 3-1 then, I mean, you just never know with Arsenal, do you? But that some quick thinking from Dublin as well. Free kick on the edge of the box.
I think Arsenal will be disappointed with the ref. I mean, it's very difficult. You know, what is the instructions here? But he's allowed it to be took. And I think Dion will be a bit disappointed he hasn't finished that because the ref hasn't blown. And, you know, it was a good chance. And to go 3-1 up, it may have been the game over. But I think, as Andy said, the noise level. There was no atmosphere really in the ground before the game. And the first half obviously stunned the Arsenal fans. But the second half, when they got going, the noise went up. And when Arsenal pen you in, as lots of teams have found out here, you know, it's not unusual for Arsenal to do that. And they wasn't phased that they had to break Villa down, and they knew they was going to create some chances.
Everybody's often talking about what Thierry Henry is not. What he is the goal scorer. 14 now, and 15 by the end of the afternoon, Alan.
You can pick holes in his game as much as you like, but the fact is, his goal-scoring ratio is just phenomenal.
Onside, as Andy said.
Yeah, he's onside. He's onside. I mean, the referee got it wrong with Wiltord, I think, but kept his flag down for that, and this is great composure, just to let Enkelman go down to his knees. But that's the kind of form he's in.
But look at the part Vieira's played. I mean, he's not, you know, he's dragged them back into this game, and the ball's gone out to young Lloyd Samuels, left-footed, playing at right back. And I think Patrick must have felt that he would come back onto his other foot to clear it, and that's exactly what he done, and pinched it off him. But a great ball across the face, and good finish.
And then in stoppage time, for 3-2, Villa were done, as Martin was saying midweek, lost 3 points there, and only came away from West Ham with 1. They've lost all 3 here and come away with nothing.
We were just talking about how well Enkelman had done, and then he skies one, doesn't he? But the George Boateng challenge wasn't what he would have wanted. For some reason, he just held back on Pires and allowed Pires to slot it through, and Henry doesn't miss those, does he?
No.
He scored so many of those over the last month or so.
If he can lay on the last defender and Arsenal in possession, good possession of the ball, how many times have you seen it slip through and for him to run onto? And as I said before the game, you know, you may catch him offside, you may not, you may get the decision, but invariably when he gets through one-on-one, he finishes it.
We also did say it's a very different Arsenal these days. We're a very expansive Arsenal who can concede, but who can win games like that now, Alan. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the attacking army is just frightening, because when they do need to break somebody down, they've got the likes of Kanu to get on for his trickery in close situations, Wiltord, who pops up with a goal occasionally, and Henry's pace. So they've got so many options that it is so difficult, even if you get 10 men behind the ball, to contain them, even in the confined spaces of those penalty areas. They've done it so often, they've broken teams down when they had to, but as Thierry Henry said, that's not... you prefer to be going 2 or 3-0 up, because a lot of times this year they've had to fight their way from behind.
Barclaycard Premiership results today, 4 games, 3-2 here, of course.
He unleashes a barrage of body shots, pounding away with bone-jarring accuracy, inflicting a searing pain. Just when every aching sinew screams no more, he comes at you again and again, battering you into submission. There is only one escape. Undefeated Ricky Hatton makes his third title defense against Justin Rousel in Saturday Fight Night, next Saturday at 7:45, live on Sky Sports 1.
A car's got to have shiny alloy wheels, power steering, sunroof. It's got to look good and be fun to drive. So there was only one thing for it. A Ford Fiesta Flight. For just £99 a month at 5.9% APR. It's all the car I ever wanted, at a price I can afford.
How refreshing. How Heineken.
Remember me? Cadbury's Miniature Heroes.
Give a little bit of your love to me.
Now's the time that we need to share. So find yourself, we're on our way back home. Give a little bit
of my love to you.
Three-2 to the Gunners. Fabulous afternoon. Here's Arsene Wenger.
Arsene left it very, very late. Did you think you deserved the 3 points today?
I believe so, yes. We had maybe a little bit not enough concentrated at the start, but there's an unbelievable energy and character in this team, and they want to do it so badly that we could reverse the score, and that shows a tremendous potential again today.
Do you always feel, even if the defending isn't going exactly right, you can outscore anybody?
We know that we can score at any moment, but it took us 20 to 25 minutes to get into the game. Maybe we still a little bit on Tuesday's game, and but then when we found our momentum, it looked like we could score at any moment. Yes, I kept hope until the last minute, and we have a talent as well and players who can score at any moment.
The changes that you made at half-time were tactical. Did you feel as much that you need to freshen things up and start the players off again?
Well, at least we needed a little bit more going forward behind them, and I felt in the first half we played too much to feet and not enough behind their defenders, and I felt we needed more strengths and penetrating strengths.
Can you sum up for us the importance to you of Thierry Henry?
It's impossible to say how important it is. He's just the player we need in the team, and I think he's happy, and the fact that he scores so goals and all the partners, there's a great spirit in the team, and he's part of it.
And can you sum up the importance of the result with Manchester United losing in terms of the Championship?
Well, it's especially important if you want to keep going with Liverpool and Leeds, who won as well, but Man United, of course, had an unlucky game yesterday, but it's good to have a difference because they will bounce back and they will come back, and I don't write them off.
Thanks, Arsene.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, everybody's been on a roller coaster ride today, not least him, I suppose. Managers are paid to make decisions. He made two big ones, didn't he? Will Tort and Keown. Did that change the game?
Well, I think that they knew that Villa were going to sit back and defend the 2-0 lead, and they needed players that was perhaps going to break them down. And I think that Lundberg wasn't having the best half. And as Alan said at half-time, he kept creeping in, and Wiltord stayed out there and stretched righty, so that he had a chance of taking him on and getting some balls into that box. And I think Martin Keown came on. I think they felt that perhaps the physical presence of Dion Dublin was winning it a little bit against Upson and Campbell, so he came on and he stopped that threat. So yeah, 2 pluses for him. Plus the goal. Plus the goal we got.
It's been a fabulous week. Just going back an hour or two, and I'm sitting here listening to Alan Smith talk about Henry, and I mean, quite rightly, he hasn't got this, and he hasn't got this, and he hasn't got
no,
this.
I mean,
but he's got this and this, hasn't he?
I mean, different people do pick holes in him, but his eye for goal at the moment, I mean, his pace is frightening, we all know about that, but his finishing ability is second to none. And take those goals away from Arsenal's side, and Arsenal really, they're going to be halfway down the Premiership, aren't they? Because he's the man that they look to in these situations, and he delivers so often. He delivers so often, this from a man that was not a central striker 2 years ago.
I think his main ingredient is that pace. I think, you know, he's not going to build play up for you, he's not going to bring people into the game too much, and he's not going to make goals. But certainly, if he positions himself right, which he does more often than not, on that last defender, then he's very, very dangerous.
I was just about to say, you say he positions himself where? Because more, I mean, he does like a drift in from that left side as well, doesn't he?
He drifts in, drifts out onto the left-hand side, and he likes that diagonal run in between the full-back and the centre-half. And where he positioned himself right at the end there, in between the two centre-halves. Staunton couldn't stay with it. Lloyd Samuel perhaps just dropped off the pace. I think they was really disappointed with the kick, because they'd pushed right up, Villa, and left three Arsenal forwards in there. And then the kick suddenly spooned up in the air, and they had no advantage. But he popped down, Perez managed to get it under control, and then it was over. If he timed his run properly, he was in, and no one's going to catch him.
Got a feel for Paul Merson, haven't you? Scored the opener. He's brought his boys here today. They were all mascots for Aston Villa.
It was a big day for Merson. I mean, I know how much he loves Arsenal, and as you say, his boys, mascot, and he played well. This was at the time, and he moved out onto the left, but he likes to face play, Merce, because he can do these kind of things, and he's got great vision, great feet, and you could see how gutted he was at the end. That
well, he's possibly scored. He scored the first one now, and if the Dublin thing would have come off, did he set the free kick off for Dublin?
Not sure.
No. There was a bit of a scramble there, but he put, you know, I think he may have been around that, and he's put Lloyd Samuel through there, which may have been a penalty, may have been the third goal for him. So you can see how upset he was.
Third round FA Cup draw was made today. It's to get a draw at home, isn't it, in the third round?
Well, we was talking about Dagenham and Redbridge before, and you know, we beat Arsenal 1-0 last season, New Year's Day, and then we played Dagenham and Redbridge, exactly the same side, and we got hammered. They should have beat us, and we survived it. We then went to the replay and survived that as well, and I've just looked at that there. I think Dagenham and Redbridge now, with that draw, home to Ipswich, I think that the atmosphere there when they play Exeter, they'll be going through, I think, and they ain't a nice place to go. Jules might give us a ring about that.
You came away smiling ultimately.
Very difficult. Yeah.
They didn't half put you through the ringer last year, didn't they?
You know, yeah, and that's what the cup's about, isn't it? You know, that's not an easy game for us either, Blackpool. You know, and expectations and everything else, and you know, that's what the cup is about. And last year that would have been my first banana.